world's alright with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you and the world's alright with me. Just one look at you and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, and when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you and the world's alright with me. I just one look at you and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now. just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hair. They don't have so very long before their judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we could do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out. They do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, just you and me. Change it, just you and me. Change it, change it. Can't do it alone, Need some help, y'all. Can't do it alone, yeah. Wake up, everybody. Wake up, everybody. Need a little help, y'all. Yes, I do. Need a little help, said boy. Need some help, no, change the world, what it used to be. Do it alone, need some help, Wake up, everybody. Get up. Wake up. Come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more about the thinking. Time for thinking ahead. Come on. Wake up, everybody. I'm talking about don't push out, stop pushing that don't. Don't use up, stop using the don't. Wake up, yeah. Wonder what you tell me now. False fire, false preaching, false teaching, Wake up, y'all. Come on. You preachers, stop preaching what you teach. Teach the truth. Wake up, preachers. Politicians, stop lying. Why don't somebody help the old people? Stay on that, baby. Help me, you businessmen. What? Stop cheating. Wake up, yeah. It don't matter. What race, creed, or color. Everybody, we need each other. Wake up, everybody. Well, you see, again. Time for thinking ahead. Wake up, all your teachers start to teach a new way. They're the ones that suffer each and every day. Teach the children, teach the baby, teach the babies, teach the children, teach the children, teach the babies, teach the children.
Watch a brother, you know. Boss man, go on up now, man. Bike man, they can't wait, sir. Oh, let me some man there. Come on, tell me again, guy. Amber don't mean stop, boss. Drive the car, no, man. Champion, God, no. Follow me now. How about this, man? Me no yes this morning. Me can't afford to late. The boss man say him a go fire me if me reach 1 second after 8. So tell me why this morning the traffic have to start at me gate. Or everybody a drive like a Sunday evening. It's like them a try test me fearful. Then tell me why this morning every light they red. How I this morning, no time every morning. Make your battery decide for dead and then tell me why this morning police are working at stealth. Tell me why this morning the officer notice seminar we are not skip belt to rotted. The bus man no want me to pass. Why every old lady in the world want cross? Why am me alone I try to drive fast? No one must see me alone have a serious boss here. When all the traffic a bumper to bumper, Lord no tell me say me tire pan shop. But I don't care what way we make. Cause right now me can't lose a minute. Yo me late. Oh the truck man better you wait. Cause me late. Right now me nah press the brakes. Cause me late. Watch a little boy up on the skate. Me run up in a 17 red light straight. Yo me late. Run the 4-cylinder like V8. Cause me late. Can't even concentrate. Cause me late. I know say everybody can relate. Flash up on the light in the traffic then. Hey follow me. But make the bike man ya no go on. Chuck. Him a go on like him don't hear the yarn. Hey, I want make the van man the no well on. No what could the make up the Benz man a put on them say. Keep left put me a dart on the right. Me a press pan the gas snow with all of me might. And me a clock about 90 a skin against the white car. Me no care what me must catch the life. But genius, woman ya in a the Hyundai. She just a bend up her face and all cut her eye. But I still a boss in a don't care what she try. She too mean, she must can't give me a life. Right now, me moving like a robot taxi. I tell you say nobody can stop me. When you hear say me late, I'm on a drive like say me a van a red plate. Call me late. Oh the van man better you wait. Call me late. Right now me nah press the brakes. Call me late. Watch the little youth up on the skate. Yo me run up in a 17 red light straight. Make me late. I run the 4-cylinder like V8. Call me late. I can't even concentrate. Call me late. I know say everybody can relate. Flash up your light in the traffic then. Hey follow me. I ain't a yes this morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. Thank you for joining us online and on air. We're vibing to, who was that again? Agent Sasko.
And he had a name change from assassin to Agent Sasko.
So perhaps it was also a career change.
Wow.
Be an assassin. Anyway, to be a spy. Good morning to those in studio with us. Engineer, producer, Miss Eden, and of course, Pastor Percival, who came in this morning in silent mode.
No,
silent and deadly? Or
cool and deadly. No, but I said good morning. It's just that you were very focused on what you were doing.
Oh, what did you use? Sign language?
No. Did I say good morning to you, Mr. Producer? Yes.
Oh, so you were just
yes, but it was important.
Lip syncing. Anyway,
just remind me. Good morning.
It's
good
always
morning
good to see
Jamaica.
You. I know you're practicing to just come in and do your thing solo. That's all right. I like a rehearsal.
I don't even know. I'm looking
right.
forward to it. I don't know. Looking forward to it, wondering.
Yeah. You'll have fun. The listeners will take care of you. So yes, this is birthday week for yours truly.
Oh, it is. Today's your birthday?
Wednesday. Say week.
The week. Oh, it's true. She did say it.
And
that
I
is
told
true.
you how my mother was like the Hebrew women.
Yes.
Quick delivery. So you'd know it. She was not in labor for a week. It's just me with my...
but I know people who celebrate their birthday for the month, you know.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's what you're going to be doing?
Sometimes I say that. No, just 10 days. Celebrated for 10 days.
Okay. All right. Celebrate for 10 days.
10 days. Meaning to say that we're taking a short sabbatical.
Okay.
So Pastor Percy will be at the controls solo, aided by those who he chooses to sit with him. While you were off the other day, the producer stepped in for mornings, and Miss Eden
What?
occasionally got
So
a
Miss
microphone.
Eden going with you too?
So no, Miss Eden staying with you.
Miss
So-
Eden staying with me?
Yes. So yeah.
Good morning, Miss Eden. How are you? She's
she's
well.
also lip. Also have to lip read.
She's
It's a
well.
new thing this
Good
morning.
morning, Mr. Engineer.
Yeah. So that's my announcement. That come Wednesday, not come Wednesday. Wednesday is my birthday, but
Come Wednesday is your birthday.
but tomorrow, Pastor will be at the controls.
So I'll
on
be
his own.
celebrating your birthday online with you.
Yes, if you insist. If you can catch me,
If we,
different time zones and
you
all
know,
that.
we'll catch you, but you'll be good.
Yeah.
And I think it's in purpose for you.
What's the producer saying over there?
We'll call you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, man. I plan to call in and bring you word from foreign parts. So yeah, that's the announcement. We're also approaching the first year mark of our time on the program with you. So we are having an anniversary.
Okay.
I've been just thinking through, and Pastor and I will discuss how we will celebrate. I'll tell you,
Anniversary.
the listeners will hear what their part is. Hey, actually, producer and I have an anniversary in July too.
That's when you got married?
Yeah, we got married in July.
Oh, so July is the month.
I was keeping it, economical.
Yeah.
So
I can
birthday,
understand.
Birthday, anniversary, and summer holidays all in 1 month.
But yeah.
Very
Mine was in a
efficient for
month
the
period.
family.
Yeah.
When is your wedding anniversary?
In January, but
Right.
Michelle's birthday is in
It's
December. And my birthday is in February. Yeah, but Danny's birthday is in December also.
Yeah.
So it's only
So it was careful planning on the child's birthday being the same month as the mother's birthday.
I don't even know
What
about
a stress.
I don't even know about that.
The careful
But my
planning part.
I think God planned it that way, and then Matthew's birthday is in my month. So we
In
have
February. So nice and convenient. When is John Taste?
He's all the way in August.
What? Summer.
Yes, in
So
summer.
you can always plan summer travel and say, this is for your birthday.
Yeah.
See how we...
We're talking about it. He's coming up onto the 16th, and I'm saying, what do you want to do? He says,
Sweet 16.
handsome 16.
Handsome. Oh, not sweet 16.
Boys, would say, don't go there, daddy.
See?
You're not sweet. You're handsome 16.
Handsome 16.
Yeah,
Well, you know what it is for young boys.
yeah, them
Provisional driver's license.
and all of them things, want to just chill with them friends
Introduction
and
to the
do them
road.
thing. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's a good morning to be alive. It's
And to
good.
be in family.
Yes.
And family don't just mean, blood family.
Mm-hmm.
It's the extended family and the spiritual family. That's what the extended family is.
Yes.
Those whom you choose to journey with. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful pleasure when you make good choices. I made some good choices. We had a wonderful weekend.
Oh, you
It
did.
was filled with work, but it was the kind of work that
You wanted to do.
absolutely
You were passionate about.
I am going to. Oh, I can't wait to have permission to talk a little bit more about it, because we were doing interviews and visiting the archives and looking at a powerful documentary that is in production.
That's being done.
Yes, and everything ties back to my artful announcement last Thursday when I said we're going to be doing a series called The Wealth of Culture
Culture
and
of
the
wealth.
Culture of Wealth.
Okay.
And it's just amazing how, having spoken it, a number of things are coming from seemingly unconnected quarters that tie into the same narrative. And even in Sunday's paper, I start to look and I see some things emerging, which tells me that it is the perfect time for Jamaicans to begin to understand with greater clarity the wealth that is in their imagination, in their hands, in their environment, in their minds. This is a wealth which is, what do I put it now? It is inexhaustible, simply because of who we are and how we go about doing things. And it's not wealth that you need to own land in order to exploit it. It's not wealth that you need to have a bank account in order to exploit it. Well, there are some aspects of it that you do require resources, but you can also combine with one another, and you're good to go. The essential asset that is needed to exploit this area of wealth is in your head, between your ears, in your hands. It's in the imagination. I cannot wait to really unpack that series and go through it in a way that can be transformational for those who care to latch on to it. It is the wealth of culture and the culture of wealth. Simply put, culture, your way of doing things, is an inexhaustible resource of wealth. And we see it when we look at how people make music and earn money from it, how they create artwork and make money from it, how they just speak, entertain, they're comedians, make money from it.
Yeah.
Where did I lose you? Oh, you're going into the Bible.
No, you didn't lose me. You just got me thinking about in Ephesians 3:20 it says, "No,
Yes.
all glory to God, who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than what we can think or imagine." That's one version says.
Yes.
So there in every single one of us, God has put
an
some
inexhaustible resource.
yes, that we can
we
tap
even
into.
We are even ourselves can't imagine
yeah.
how deep and how
Yeah.
wide and powerful it is.
It says,
I
one
love
version
that.
says,
I love that
"Now to
connection.
him who is able to do immeasurable more than all we can ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work in us."
All right.
So
And I got the look and the nod and the signal. It is 6:30
Yeah,
a.m.
but,
Please
yeah.
stay with us. We'll be right back.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Bess FM. Keep listening.
We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. Hurricanes can happen, so be prepared.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time on shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Easy, let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, and lies prefer the truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
Bess100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Yeah, so it is so important, and as we reflect on the last 2 years, we understand the power of our mind and imagination. And I remember you spoke so candidly about the fact that you have to be careful. It's a battlefield of the mind. And it was, and it continues to be for us. That we understand that the real war is in the battlefield of the minds. And if we can get this thing right in terms of what we allow for, where we allow our minds to go, what to think, we will win the battle. Which is why, again, Romans 12:1-2 says, be not conformed, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if you go into that text, it says, do not allow for the world to squeeze you into its own patterns and ways of thinking. So for those of us who are persons of faith, persons who understand that the spirit is even greater than even our soulish realm, let us ensure that we teach our minds the right things, put the right things in our mind. And as the word of God just says, he is able to do more than we can ever think or imagine. And Einstein, I think it says that imagination is what causes us to dream new things, to break into new frontiers. But it's important that we understand always that our minds.
That last reference you made to Albert Einstein is a crucial link between our understanding of the wisdom that comes out of Scripture and the connection that it has to the natural world.
It does.
And I think it's worth emphasizing, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because whenever we speak and we come from, let's say, then a Bible-based perspective, there are many persons who start to tune it out because they think, oh, it means I need to go to the altar and accept Christ as my Savior. Or it means I'm going to go into some ritualistic relationship with somebody in a church, and I am opposed to certain things, and I've been hurt by this or that, and I don't trust this or that. If you allow yourself to move and to think in that way, you're actually denying yourself the benefit of tapping into one of the greatest book of wisdom and guidance that has ever been published. There's a reason why it continues to lead as the most published and read piece of literature in humanity's hands. The wisdom that is there has nothing to do with accepting Christ as your Savior and going to church every Sunday and paying tithes and whatever. Wisdom is pure and has its inherent integrity, whether you believe or not. If you believe, it will give you the discipline and the intent to keep working at it. But it works whether you believe or not. And meaning you can even see it working in other person's lives without your even knowing the state of their relationship with God. Let's put it that way.
And the quote by Einstein is, "For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand."
There you go. Good scripture, that one. What's the?
No, he just.
But he's really stripping down and giving you the heart of those other scriptures you read that says there is an inexhaustible, infinite resource of abundance into which we can tap if we take off the training wheels. If we take away some of the limitations that either we impose them on ourselves, or we accept that others have the right to trap your mind into a certain spiral from which you may find it difficult to escape. It is something that I have fought for or fought against from my earliest days. The moment I realized that I can hear something said and reinterpret it and decide whether I want to keep it or reject it. And I think that came pretty early. And those of you who have raised children know that by age 2, they are telling you no. And they go through a period when
it's earlier these years, man. The first thing they know in terms of communicating is no. It's not mama and dada, no. It's no.
No. You give an instruction or you offer something, and they learn very quickly that they can reject it. And I tell you, some children linger in that period for a very long time. Going right into the there are some adults, who are still, but it is a developmental stage of human beings that you come to a point when you recognize that I don't have to go along with, even if it looks like it's good for me, like my parents feed me, and if I'm hungry, they respond by feeding me. So I learned that food is necessary to comfort and to life. It doesn't mean that everything they put on a spoon, I am to take it. So you go through that period with your kids when you offer it to them out, and they fold their lips and shake their head, and eventually they begin to say no. So it's just to say that it is a part of our development to recognize that not everything that is on offer has to be accepted.
Correct.
And so it goes with what persons put in your mind as ideas about politics, ideas about your value, ideas about
that's the most important
work.
thing, sis.
Yeah. Ideas about your skin color.
And your value, because the truth is the only thing I believe we really need to accept is what the divine, which is what God says about us.
And I just, mostly I stop at, I am made in his image.
Yes.
And everybody who talk about God say God is all powerful, God is all have ability. And then as I matured, I understand that God has vested his people with authority. So I don't have to say, on the weekend I had this, I'm going to say amazing thought. But when you hear it, you can tell me if it's. We oftentimes talk about abuse of power, and we talk about powerful people. But something struck me quite forcibly on the weekend. People don't have power.
You give them power.
People have authority. Do you see the distinction? There is no human being who have red blood in their veins and walk on 2 foot or not. Some don't walk at all. But there's no human being who is more powerful than the next.
They have authority.
So we are equal in that. But some of us have authority. And the authority comes to us because either
offices or positions
that we occupy, that people put us in. Sometimes we take it by force, like when a military man might carry out a coup, but he can't just get up and carry out a coup him one. He needs others to give them their support, thereby giving him authority. Why I said it is because you enter a room and there are different individuals in the room seeking to accomplish different things. And you are standing at the doorway looking into the room and deciding which way to flow.
You're sensing the room.
You're sensing the room. Now, depending on why you have entered the room, you are going to try and sense out who has access to power, who is holding authority that can make a difference in the agenda that you have. So, for example, if you're going to the room to, because you have a product you want to sell, you are looking to see who has money to spend.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
Or who has access to people who want to buy the thing that you have. And you begin to do a kind of a stratification. You begin to create a list of priority in your mind. Now, these are things that you do automatically.
Believe it or not.
You're not deliberately, putting it into any kind of process, but you are instinctively kind of looking around and trying to see. Sometimes you make decisions based on how a person looks. For example, you might see in Jamaica, if you go into a room and you see a bunch of people, and what you're looking for is maybe access to money, or you look for those who are well dressed, of a certain skin color.
Yes.
Let's be frank. And you make judgments.
That's so true.
But in all of it, what you are looking to do is to bring yourself in alignment with someone or body of persons who have the authority and the ability to help you achieve whatever mission you're on. I'm speaking about it because I want
us to understand.
And to begin to intentionally now
Reprogram our mind.
reprogram that. Yes.
That's how we need to do it.
Yeah.
So I do not allow to put in a certain mold, because when Jesus walked earth, him just turned the thing upside down. As I said, they turned the cart on its head in terms of how people then perceive power and leadership and authority. And it says, you look, let me tell you something. If you want to lead people, you have to first serve them. You remember that statement?
Yes.
And him just threw it out there and says, that is not how you lead people. You get me going, but you're going because...
No, I want to get you going. Remember, you'll be on your own tomorrow. You won't have your muse.
No, to say no, and I've been reflecting on it. Even as a leader in the church.
Yes.
And saying, what is the model that he gave to us? And I often reflect on Ephesians 4, from verses 11 to 13. It's one of my favorite verses that I use in terms of ministry. And he outlined all of the different giftings that were there, the apostle, the prophet, the teacher, and everything. And he says, you know what it's about? It's about empowering that person. It's about empowering that person that they can fulfill their call and understand who they are so that they can bring glory to God. And that's what it's about. So we think the leadership is from top to bottom. He says, no, man. If you want to, you have to go underneath them, and you're in the way that you treat them and you serve them, you're elevating them so they can maximize their potential and bring glory to God.
So you build them up.
That's what it's
so
about.
So they can shine,
yes,
and be independent in thought and action.
Right.
And then they can deliberately now choose to follow.
Yes, because that's what it really is about in terms of your leadership. And every time you start to lord it over people, you know you're not really leading them. You're just using them.
There was a very I found it touching. There's a photo of the Prime Minister sitting beside the grieving mother of the young woman who was killed in her bed, she and her 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that accompanies it is one about it really is one about rehabilitation and justice and how to handle the trauma that results from seriously violent actions in the country. I look at him sitting beside the woman. He's dressed in very dark clothing because, let me go to it. He's visiting
Saturday.
her. Yes. Let me find it. He's dressed in dark clothing. It made the front page on Saturday. Because he's visiting. There it is. Okay. If you could not read English and you saw the 2 persons, would you even have any idea who's who in it? And I'm back to the notion about power and authority.
There's just 2 people talking.
It's just 2 people talking. The mother is saying, I need answers because the grief is hard to bear.
Mm-hmm.
And the Prime Minister is pledging support.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about an anti-violence program that the government is going to fast track to address violence within the society. To quote him, he says, I am not going to allow it to get any worse than it is now. And we have decided, and we have decided,
who is we?
I guess it is what we have decided to do, is to fast track our anti-violence program. He added that while the government has developed and executed crime-fighting strategies, such as improved policing, improved capabilities of the Jamaica Defense Force, and the use of enhanced security measures, there is another dimension to the plan, and that is to control and reduce the use of violence. So we did put in place a commission to look at violence, to study the pathology of violence in Jamaica, and to report to the government as to what measures the government can take. He said that the government should be in receipt of that report shortly and is prepared to act accordingly. Then he says some more things. He says that what happened in Cocoa Peace was a stark reminder of the inclusion of violence in all social interactions. We use violence to discipline our children, and all we do is teach them that the only way to get things done is to use aggression and violence. We use violence in intimate partner relationships as a means of domination and power, and between family and neighbors, and that must change, he said. The Jamaican people have to not just confront the murderer, but we also have to confront ourselves as to how we have come to normalize and accept violence.
So it's only two sets of people use violence in order to get the thing done. Government uses it too in terms of their power. And you see, we need to do deep reflection. This is just Percival speaking on how we deal with each other, because you set a standard, you set a trend, you set protocols, and we look at it and we say, if people are saying we do not want that, we do not think it is good for us, what do we do as people of power? Do we seek to go and talk to the people? What do we do? Even in terms of how we police our people, we have to reflect on those things, because it is something that is so big that we need to set examples in terms of how we deal with things and situations. What do you think? I heard that. I was just thinking,
well, I quoted from him as I quoted from Minister Percival Williams, who, when she attended to talk to the same lady, she spoke about restorative justice. And then you just made the connection that we've been talking about it a lot on this program. I once asked you whether ideas can be violated.
Yes, they can.
And just note the word violence, violate. They come from the same root. The violation of an idea, the destruction of hopes and dreams, you'd have said no, the murder of hopes and dreams are as devastating and sometimes have wider impact and consequences than the death of an individual. Yeah. When you kill an individual, you take away their prospect of contributing to society.
When you kill an idea.
When you kill an idea, sometimes when you kill an idea, you kill a nation, because the person, the bearer of that idea, could have its same prospect of transforming. And you look at some ideas that have transformed society, even banking, insurance, even the idea of policing instead of each man seeking his own justice. The idea of investing a group with the authority to act on your behalf. Those are ideas that have transformed society. Schooling under one roof. Prior to that, persons were homeschooling. All their children had to learn whatever you needed to learn to survive. You had to learn it in the family setting. But the idea now of bringing persons together under one roof so they could get either the same level of good training or the same level of bad training, whatever.
Because the implications,
it works in either way. But still, the idea now that if I am illiterate and poor and can't school my child the best way possible in my home, that child can go someplace and rub shoulders and share ideas with other children who come from better circumstances, or however you want to put it. It's a rich, transformative idea. And then you have ideas that deal with things like electricity, computers.
That was an idea that transformed the world.
That is an idea. The internet.
Yes.
I can take all kinds of things began with ideas. Some of the ideas are so ancient we don't even recognize them as innovative ideas. But the first person who said, oh, the water is over there and my house is down here, let the water move instead of me going to draw water. So a transmission facility to move water to different communities and so on. Those are ideas which have transformed the society. If someone had killed them, or like I learned something on the weekend that has just kind of stayed with me even as we talk about the wealth of culture. I learned that a rich and powerful man offered a lot of money to a particular artist to take his album, and the man accepted, not understanding that what the rich and powerful man would do with it was put it on a shelf and let it sit there for decades because he was promoting a different artist. Can you imagine what it would feel like to see your idea on a shelf getting dusty and moldy because you had unwittingly sold it? Where else we know that?
In Jamaica.
Esau
And
sold
Jacob.
his birthright and regretted it.
Mm-hmm.
Sold it because he had a need
I never
in the
understood
moment, never
implication.
understood the value of it.
Mhm.
The birthright is an idea.
Yeah.
Birthright is just a concept that if you stand in a certain position of primacy, there are
Is
some
yours.
things that come
flow
to
from,
you
That flow from it.
that
Just
flow from it.
From being firstborn. and
Yes,
That kind of
it's not
other-
something you can put in your hand. It's not something that you could take up and. But he had the idea that he could dispose of it, and after he did, and it continues to this day, that the Edomites, as our
Samuel
Jewish
would
friend
say.
would say, have followed a particular course. So the death of an idea, the violation of an idea, can have even more far-reaching effects than the
implications.
assault of an individual, however gross, however bloody, however disturbing to the mind it may be. I'm telling you, Mr. Prime Minister, and even the lady who is grieving and saying, I want answers, why would someone do it? That someone is the sum total of a lot of other violations which occurred at an intangible spiritual level, and
All the
you
time
know
in
how
our country.
I express myself, that have occurred and brought us to this point.
Over time.
Yes.
And I recall an article that Peter Spute wrote. You remember?
Which one? He has written many.
the
Every
one-
Sunday, right one.
The one
Sorry.
about understanding the roots of violence in
Yes.
our culture. That was a very
Yeah,
powerful
yeah.
in terms of understanding where it has come from, where it's going. But even as you speak about ideas and the responsibility of birthright, this is something we're sending out to every Jamaican that is listening this morning. You see this thing about democracy and elections and your vote being paid
For sale.
You don't even understand the implications of that in terms of not only yourself, but in terms of the generations to come. Because when the whole thing of paying for votes became a part of our system, we see the result today.
I want to share something with you, Pastor. Yeah, we have like 4 minutes. There are two things that I want to focus on. But the first that I'm motivated to share now is out of my seemingly inexhaustible storehouse of memories. Many years ago, I was a junior lawyer in a law firm, and a certain man had put himself up for candidacy in a political party. And one strategy that was touted was to render him ineligible by taking a matter to the bankruptcy court, because there are provisions in the Representation of the People's Act that deals with it. It was discussed, and I had the file, and it was supposed to be my job to do it. And the bankruptcy would have rendered the person ineligible for a number of things. It transpired that the person was classmate with someone with authority to direct the future of the action. And in the end, it was shelved, although all the grounds for bankruptcy were there. Fast forward about 20 years, and I watched that person who had been spared from that long time go on to be in the public sphere and to feature in a very, I'm going to say negative way because of the outcomes, in several high-profile national dramas. And I was at the age now when I could look back and say, if we had followed through with that strategy and pretty much decommissioned that individual,
We'd have had that.
we have
had all of those things?
Yes, that's one. The second is another matter that came, and again, strategies being discussed, how to address it. It was a very high-profile individual, high-profile now. At the time, he was a junior politician and a businessman trying something and failing in all the business endeavors. And it came up as one of the FinSAC matters. And again, a similar thing. There was an opportunity to deal decisively and to render that person ineligible.
Mm-hmm.
And the same decision was taken. The same decision was taken to not move in a particular direction. And again, these are things I reflected on when I saw what the persons grew up to be. And I look back at it and I said,
grew up to be.
Yeah, I said, imagine that. I had that file because of the desk I managed. I had that file. I was under authority. I couldn't get up and go say, let me do this. I was under authority and I got certain instructions. And I watched the persons grow into monsters, which I can say had the harsher course being pursued with those two individuals,
would not be where we are today.
The government itself would have been spared millions of dollars because those two persons have caused a lot of loss in this country. And I look back at it at my very junior self and say, can you imagine I had the opportunity at that age to work on this? And I know at the time it showed you that both persons were not to be trusted with money. It showed you that both persons lacked the ability to plot a clear strategy. They never matured into anything better than what was displayed at that stage, 20, 25 years ago. Wow. When we come back from the break, because we're right at 7 o'clock, I'm going to draw you into another. I would like patterns, and we love to take them from the Old Testament, because when you take it from the Bible, you don't libel or slander anybody, but you manage to teach a lesson that is as old as time. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Bess FM-100 on your dial. Keep listening.
The Mothers Union will be making a special contribution to Sister Cherry. She's really struggling to take care of her bills,
Yes, I get that things are not too good with her, and the sad thing is that she gave her all when she worked at the parish council.
So true, and that is why I believe that this new compensation system that the government is implementing is a good thing, especially when you retire.
I agree. Some people don't seem to understand that it's really when you retire you really need support, and the new system will make them better off when they retire. A larger basic pay means higher pension, which leads to greater ability to look after yourself financially when you retire.
The government should have done this 10 years ago so that we could benefit.
The new public sector compensation system. Better pay, better pension. Visit mof.gov.jm to learn more.
What does a student in Augustown, St. Andrew have in common with a small business owner in St. Catherine? How about a farmer in Treadlight, Clarendon, and a firefighter in St. James? Each has a unique story about how the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, has transformed their life for the better. For over 2 decades, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund has changed the lives of Jamaicans through its projects and programs. They've supported tourism and agriculture, expanded school spaces, and made safe paths for children to walk to school. JSIF has also improved community infrastructure, boosted small businesses, bolstered Jamaica's response to natural disasters, and so much more. With the help of their partners, JSIF continues its mission of investing for community development.
I'm advice I don't know all the shot and tally. I have a message to everyone. Get vaccinated. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with jobs to help the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt, do the nerd. Link the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. Yeah. This is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
AGD pensioners, our mobile unit is coming to you. Meet us in your parish from Monday, June 6 to Friday, June 17. Collect and submit your life certificates. Get them certified on the spot with a valid ID, or just come for customer service support. See you in St. Thomas on June 6. On June 7, we'll be in Portland and St. Anne on June 8. In St. Mary, June 9. In Trelawney, June 10. St. Catherine pensioners, the AGD will see you on June 11. On June 13, we go to St. Elizabeth, Hanover on June 14, and to Westmoreland on June 15, Manchester on June 16, and to Clarendon on June 17. For more information, visit our website at treasury.gov.jm.
Yeah, but the lineup slap, you know. Hey, hold this.
You know the price did adjust since your last visit, though.
How much now? I never really walk with no extra cash, you know.
You can't pay me with Jamdex, man.
I saw ya move, my boss. Me have my digital wallet too, so make me transfer to you right now.
A phased rollout of Jamdex, Jamaica's central bank digital currency, is on the way. Sign up for your digital wallet and get more convenience, safety, and security with your money. A message from the JIS.
NIS pensioners. Early encashment continues. Any pension order voucher with a payable date in June 2022 may be encashed as of Thursday, June 2. Collect your June payments at your convenience. Simply visit your designated post office. Remember, your pension vouchers can only be encashed at post offices. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Rio Grande to the South Coast. Hotel workers and man we're off boat. This a for the craft vendors, red cap porters and transportation at airport. Jamaica tourism pension plan, building towards the future. For tourism workers across the island, retirement benefits to contributions. Every worker in the industry, permanent self-employed contract. For your service you deserve security. Yes, you do. Tourism workers pension plan, build a bright future. Yes, you can. Tourism workers pension plan, workers invest through contributions. All tourism workers, age 18 to 59. Tourism workers pension plan.
Start making your contributions for a brighter future.
For further information, visit mot.gov.jm or call 876-920-4926-30.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Bess FM-100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, river bank or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Calling all donors! STEM Uprising invites you to their blood drive and back to school treat at the Percy Junior Hospital, Manchester on July 15th, 2022. The event starts at 9 a.m. Come on out! Refreshments and entertainment provided. Lots of back to school giveaways. And guess what? You can win big! There's a prize for bringing the highest number of donors. Yes! Bring a friend. Give blood, save a life.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to The Morning Connection, and thank you for staying with us. When we parted, we were talking about we're talking a little bit about the violation of ideas and the necessity to look at violence from the ground up, not just at its physical expression.
Symptoms.
Yeah, when persons begin to act out and actually breach the skin. The breaching of the mind is where it occurs first.
That's where it starts first, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we need to put up better safeguards. And when we come to analyze it and to set strategies to address it, we have to be faithful to the correct narrative and start from the ground up.
And you know, people have been talking for a very, 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 very long time in terms of our culture and violence and what happens in it. So it's not a new thing, but it looks like now, with what has happened with the pandemic and people being locked down in situations where you can't get out, you have to relate. It has become so very prevalent, and we are seeing the manifestations of it. But it's been there now, if we are truthful to ourselves. It has always been there in terms of how we see things. And I was speaking to Peter Spute and the culture of slavery and how violence has been a part of that, and how are we going to heal. And I think part of the healing takes place first in a spiritual aspect. And I'm not trying to spiritualize it in terms of getting rid of, people would say, the demons that are so much into our culture. And then now, in terms of how we do it, in terms of the children at an early age. I remember Professor Harriet, when he came, he spoke to that, because he's somebody who's done a significant amount of work, and he says if you're going to change it, you have to change what is happening at the home, what is happening at the school level, and then you begin to see the changes that are so real, Mr. Producer. And so we have to look at it from aside from all of those things to understand what really is happening. But yeah, and let it not be that we're going to be spending a lot of money, I believe, to deal with it in terms of consultant. The studies are there. It is there. It is now time for implementation. And you have to pull into this whole fixing solution the church, the government, education, all the stakeholders in terms of what needs to happen. Yeah. So
you see me smiling. It's not because you're making a joke, but I was online saying, but how come nobody's saying hello? Nobody's
the regulars there.
Yes, I had picked up one of the other channels.
Okay.
Suffice it to say, Conrad was being funny when I spoke about the developmental stage, when we learned that we can't say no. Mm-hmm. He says he has not developed yet. Can he still say no?
That's so like a Conrad.
Good morning, Conrad. Thank you for that one. I still say no. And of course, Delroy Henry has given us some beautiful UK shout out. All right. I promised that I was going to find a pattern from the Bible, which is going to speak to a number of things that are concerning to us. One, we have the persons who say, "Where is God?" Mm-hmm. And the in our distress, and it is the right thing, to call out for divine assistance, but
intervention.
But most times when we are complaining and saying, "Where is he? He seems to be missing from the battle because look how the soldiers have behaved bad." We forget sometimes that the things we see are things about which he spoke previously and said, this shall be the consequence of certain things. And then you and I emphasize that he does not interfere with the free exercise of man's will. When we have the opportunity to choose and we choose badly, he's not going to come and reverse it, because a part of our development and training is to bring ourselves to that point of development, maturity, where we make sound choices so that we can later down the road reap the benefit of those sound choices, which tells you, if you reverse engineer it, that when you are reaping bitter fruit, it's because you did plant bitter seed. Make sense?
A law of the universe. Sow and reaping.
Reap what you sow.
Yeah.
So when we reap the bitter fruit in cocoa peas, it is because of what we had sowed. It's not going to change mysteriously just so. It can, because we believe in supernatural things, but in order for you to agitate and spark that supernatural intervention, there are things that you would have to do. For example, I am very conscious that if we have a revival of the spirit of worship and love on a massive scale in this country, we can change the fruit that we reap. I know that, but that is a massive, wide scale, transformative change in how people think and do things. And the only way for you to really sort of like change your DNA. Do you know what it takes to change your DNA? Do you know what it takes?
Spiritual.
No, it takes the blood of a different person, which you say spiritual.
Yeah.
But just so you know, it is, for years and years we all thought that your DNA and your fingerprint, and there are some things that can never change. Well, people figure out how to erase the fingerprint, burn off the fingerprint. You've done it. Put something on it, you mask it. Now science acknowledges that if you take a blood transfusion from bone marrow, where blood is produced, if you take a transplant from that source, in time, the blood of the donor, the DNA of the donor, will be reflected in and it's had massive impact on law enforcement, because persons who were found, like your DNA is found at a site in a criminal scene, and it is used to conclusively assist in a finding of guilt. And then years later, this is like a real case coming out of one of those innocence projects, where while the convicted man is behind bars, his DNA appear at another scene again.
You have to say, hold on.
And he's behind bars. And then it's sparked, which is how these innovations and inquiries and discoveries are sparked, because something that looks impossible takes place and man proceeds on a path of investigation. And they discovered that the one in prison had got
blood transfusion,
bone marrow transplant from a relative of the person who was still out there doing wrongs. And so they had convicted the wrong man on the basis of DNA evidence, which, though true in fact, had a false genesis, because it challenged the belief that no two persons can have the same DNA. That is out the window.
That's out the window, but that opens up another discussion. You continue. Me not go down the road.
No, make a note of it. You have plenty of time on your own to pursue that discussion. Anyway, the point of the point I'm making here is that you can mount a challenge against ideas that we all thought, in our limited way of thinking, that these are absolutes. And it's not possible. Your DNA is unique until you find that, yes, it is unique to the blood or to the production source of an individual. And if you do what science permits us to do now and achieve a transfusion, then and so some persons can end up with two DNA, because the transplanted one, it takes a while before it would take over your entire body. But so that's just kind of a pattern out of real world and science. I want to go to the Old Testament. Do you remember Jehu?
And the 3-4 prophets.
The prophet All right, let me.
Jehu
he was anointed
to
king of Israel, and he proceeded to use the sword to make a swift
judgment
on
Jezebel.
Right.
And
But from the time that Jezebel used her husband's signature to thief the man's land, something that happened to this day in this country, from the time Jezebel forged her husband's signature to give him his heart's desire, created a whole, I mean, this could be happening right now in Jamaica, because I certainly have been the victim of the false signature scheme where a bank, very high profile bank in Jamaica, produced and delivered documents purporting to carry a signature which did not in reality have a rightful place on the documents produced. And that signature was used to condemn Carousel, our company, and accuse us of doing something which we had not done. And ultimately, the license was revoked on the strength of a signature on a document which all the persons who dealt with the document in reality on our side knew that that signature did not belong there. Yet it was there. They show you the paper. You see it. We made a report to the police for fraud. The police did not pursue it or were distracted in their pursuit of it, and the government acted preemptively and did what they needed to do. And I know that the day will come when the truth will be established.
Truth always comes
out. And everybody who dealt with it are going to be held to account. But as the thing was going through its motions, everyone who came in contact with it had an opportunity and had a choice to make. Do I pursue and make the right inquiries and do the right thing? Or do I follow an agenda that has been set? An agenda in which some of the actors didn't even have a stake. They were just going through the motions because they had received authority or they had received instructions from someone in authority. So it continues to this day that someone can forge Jezebel, we know, use the king's signature to convene a meeting and give certain instructions for a man to be set up and murdered.
Yeah.
And so
Naboth's vineyard
became the king's vegetable garden. Because that's what he wanted. He wanted to take the man's inheritance and make it into a vegetable garden simply because they were neighboring.
Felt like he wanted it.
Yes, he said this would make a good vegetable garden.
And the man said, but it's been my family for generations. I cannot sell it to you.
I can't sell it to you.
And the lady go and say, you don't know who you are.
So what's wrong with you? Why are you sulking? You are the king.
Yes, and you could do what you need to do, even though it is wrong.
Yeah.
And that is why we have to be so careful.
As leaders, when you abuse power.
Yes,
okay.
Man.
So because of that abuse, a word was spoken against the house of Ahab and Jezebel, the queen herself.
Elijah.
And years passed, and it came time for fulfillment.
Can you imagine that? Years after, I know.
Years after. Because by this time, Ahab is dead. Jezebel is an old lady. And her son is on the throne. But so Jezebel and her husband had done some deeds which required restoration, fulfillment of prophecy in years to come. That's one. The second element was between the two prophets. Elijah had grown tired, and it is to him that the Lord said, you are not alone. There are 7,000 whose knees have not bowed, but I'm going to get you some help. Go out and get yourself a successor. So Elisha was anointed, and the other instructions were, of Jezebel, who kill off all my prophets and set you on the run.
You remember that?
I am going to deal with her. Oh, yes. He said, I'm going to deal with her. The dogs will lick up her blood. And he also said, in time to come, I have earmarked a young man by the name of Jehu, who was not in the lineage of Ahab, to become not a son of the king, to take the throne, but he is to be anointed, and anyone who in fact, he had a lineup. Jehu will complete the delivery of vengeance, of judgment on the house of Ahab and Jezebel the queen. So Jehu had a place in prophecy, unknown to him, because I don't know that it was shared with him at the time of utterance. Elijah, the prophets, had the knowledge that this was to come. And this is happening in different countries even, because one was happening in Judah and one was happening in Samaria, where Ahab and Jezebel held sway. Fast forward now to when the judgment is to be delivered. And if you're following the narrative with me, you will just be tracking Jamaica alongside it. Some unrighteous things happened in Jamaica during the, let's call it, the reign of Jezebel. Because we have had our unreasonable leaders who took advantage of simple people who were just seeking to live and exist and enjoy what was theirs. We have that in our past. Whether you want to say is from 1962 at the time of independence or 1938 or whatever. We have had our Jezebel and our leaders who took advantage of the humble people. And the execution of judgment on them will absolutely. Its foundation is in the past, and it is coming into fulfillment now. For those who are standing in the way or just looking on and seeing it, you have a role to play as well, because how you survive depends on the position you take and how you respond to the trauma that you see unfolding around you. When it was time for Jehu to enter the stage, the prophet sent someone to anoint him. It was done privately. It said, take him into an inner room, pour the oil on his head and say, I anoint you king over Israel. This is what the Lord says. Then a most peculiar instruction. Then open the door and run. Don't delay. Yeah. You have to tell me what that means at another time.
You mean
why did the prophet say that the one who delivers the information was to run? Don't delay. Anyway, things happened very quickly from that point. Jehu got his prophecy, came out of the room. His friend said to him, what did the prophet say? Because even though they were not
telephone and digital and WhatsApp.
Yeah, but they were not convinced of the accuracy of prophecy or even the rightness of it. Or, I mean, they treated them as outcasts and madmen, because he said, what did that maniac say? And he said, he told him that I've been anointed king. So when you have ambition in your heart to do a thing, it does not require much to push you to that point of executing on it. A madman can say to you, just think about it. You're driving down the road, you secretly believe that you should be in charge of the company. You enter the gate and the security guard said to you, morning, boss. And that becomes your prophetic word. It confirms in your heart that you are the boss. And so when you go inside the business, you decide to either be disrespectful. No. Let's pause here. When someone says something that affirms what you're already thinking and feeling, be careful what your next step is.
Yeah.
You can enter the door filled with pride and arrogance and decide to lord it over the people who are calling you boss, or it can become a source of inspiration for you to perfect your game and earn the authority and the position that you seek, whether you take over the business you're in through some decent responsible way, or you go out and set up your own business and become your own boss. But the course you take to execute against those words will define what happens to you and your descendants.
And that's important, because David was anointed to be king when he was 17.
I see you're going to make that contrast.
He never ascended to the throne until he was about 34.
Mm-hmm.
And in all of that time, Saul understood it and tried to kill him. At one occasion that he could have killed him, said, no, I will not touch the
Two
Lord.
occasions.
Yeah.
And
he says, no, I will not do it. And he waited. And when the time came for him to do it was so much easier for him. So be careful in terms of how you interpret it. I've known of persons who have received prophetic word and have not judged it properly and jumped ahead of the timing, and it destroyed them.
But look at this one. Why I chose Jehu. I chose Jehu because when he was anointed, he knew at the time he was not a son of the king. The king is still alive and have children. The king at the time was injured. He had been injured in battle and he was back at his home recuperating. But when he heard that he would be king, he went out and killed the king so he could take the throne. But killing the king was actually fulfillment of what was spoken against the house of Ahab. And he was really heading for Jezebel. And when he got to the house and Jezebel looked through the window, he immediately called on those up there and said, "Who is with me?"
And 3 eunuchs.
And said, "Throw her down."
And the whole thing of eunuch in that sense means that they could not have been bought by anything that Jezebel was doing, because she was up there prettying up her face.
Yes, she put on her eye makeup.
And so the fact that they were eunuchs that never had any power over them.
Yeah.
And some of the times in ascending to where we need to go, we have to become immune to what the enemy will try to use against us.
So there's Jehu behaving in an unspeakable manner, but executing judgment against a well-deserved house that had behaved in an even more unspeakable manner in their past. And then what became of Jehu himself?
Eventually.
Jehu reigned as king for a period, but because of his ruthlessness, his lineage did not continue on the throne.
That's correct.
And when you read the narrative of it, it is clear that although the actions he pursued brought certain things into fulfillment, he himself was later punished for behaving in such an unspeakable manner. Now, some of you may be thinking, but God said it would be so. And that because I myself had that concern, when we come back after the break, I am going to address how it is that we work to accomplish the things that are ours by divine proclamation without destroying our own livelihood, our own lineage or inheritance or legacy, whatever you want to call it. How can you walk in the fulfillment of prophecy without yourself becoming a victim or a casualty of it? Let's take the break.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Bess FM, keep listening.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3. Half a tree, 1 and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how we do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Easy! Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection, and thank you for bearing with us as we go through what seems like they certainly make for dramatic.
Yeah, man, we
telling.
could write movies out of it.
Percy's ready to do a movie. But let me just wrap up this part and then bring it in line with what we're seeing in our own newspapers. So, how do you walk in the fulfillment of prophecy without yourself becoming a casualty of the violence or of the prophecy itself? And I chose the story of Jehu this morning because Jehu was not in line to be king, not of the royal lineage. He was a commander in the army, actually.
The captain.
And he was told by the prophet that he would be king. A prophet that they generally thought of as a madman.
Yeah.
But when he said something that sounded like, one, it could fulfill your ambitions. Two, if you align yourself with what is believed to be the word of a prophet, then other people will accept you. Sure enough, as soon as he told his brethren, they fell in behind him. And it was Jehu for king. But Jehu was being used to fulfill certain things that had been spoken of about the family Ahab, Jezebel, and even the resolution of a crisis of confidence that had hit the man of God, Elijah. Elijah had taken flight because Jezebel said she going to kill him.
No, she said, you see you now? A woman word dangerous, you know? Watch me and you. In a Jamaica, and that's what she did.
Yeah, man. She said,
and she filled the spirit of intimidation and fear, which is very present in Jamaica at this point in time. Somebody told me on the weekend, and she was saying she works in a community and they're trying to bring the community together. And it's somehow somebody in her section was killed. And them send words of threat and say, we are comfy. And the lady just
shrink up, shrivel up.
Shrink up and stop. So there's a spirit of intimidation that is very rife in our society. And I bind that even now in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Shut up them mouth.
Yeah. It happens all too easily here.
Yes.
Yeah, so we see how these characters were moving in the fulfillment of words spoken by the prophet long, long ago. Well, long enough ago. Because Elijah was now dead, and it was the time of Elisha, and he had his school of prophets, and he sent a youngster out to go and complete a mission that had been given to him by Elijah. All right. How do you then? You would say, all right, the prophet has come and said Jehu will be king, and Jehu made it happen. Was he entitled to make it happen? Perhaps so, but then how becomes the big question. And we always emphasize here that the condition of your heart is what determines the strategy that you employ. When Jehu took the throne by force, he then set a course for his own family, his own descendants, to lose any right to the throne. And in fact, the house of Jehu just disappeared. Is a story in the Bible. There was no, he did not remain. Yeah, he did not remain. So the answer to that, how to avoid becoming a casualty of the very thing that you are, of your own purpose, the power of choice, the freedom to choose, and the necessity for each of us to educate ourselves and inform ourselves on the principles that make for righteous living and decision making. Now, if you are a student of prophecy, you will say, but it was prophesied. And so you might take a fatalistic view of it and say he couldn't avoid it. Not so. What is prophecy? My best understanding of it is, go back to the first principle. Prophecy really is the word of God as delivered through his messenger. So it's not the prophet who sees it. It is God who tells him
to do what he needs to do.
What is to be or what is to be done. And the whole purpose of prophecy is to alert those who have a starring role in the events to come. They are to come in man's timeline, but God has already seen it because he exists outside of our timeline. And for him, everything is now. So he sees exactly what we do, not what we might do or must do. He sees the choice we actually make in the moment. But when he sends a prophet to speak of it, it's because he's giving man an opportunity to make better choices or to hold their ground. So if you know you're making good choices already, and a prophet comes to you and say, the Lord says the battle is not yours, or the Lord says hold the course, persevere, your victory is assured. It is to encourage you to continue as you are doing. You don't need to change. Most times when you get it, you are about to collapse and you were feeling like this is never going to be. It becomes a word of encouragement. If you are a terrible person on a terrible path and a prophet comes to you and say, beware, turn. It is because the Lord has seen that you persisted in that way, and he knows that the only thing that might cause you to change course is that prophetic word. So, for example, prophets were, it wasn't, I think, not like a religious thing. You knew that there are persons who had sight or seers who had that kind of ability. Mm-hmm. And you, because you know that it is possible and it is true, if they come and say something to you, it is credible. Mm-hmm. We're living in a time when prophecy is not regarded as credible by many.
Because of things that have happened.
Because we've become so mired in our own understanding of science and our belief that we have power as opposed to authority, or belief that we know more and that we can control things, that we regard the utterances of prophets as mad people speaking or wishful thinking or I don't know, whatever. But we relegate it. Contemporary society no longer pays attention.
There's some parts of it, but I even as you've said that, Minett, I was reflecting on then if contemporary society does not reflect the word of the prophet or understand the supernatural in terms of its impact on people's life, then why is it that then so many people go to Obeah or go to these people? Because they believe that there's something in the supernatural that they're not able to connect with, so they go to these other sources. What do you think?
Yeah, but so now you're looking at the ones who believe that they can command the spiritual forces to work for their selfish.
Yes, right.
And the ones who believe they can command it to work for their altruistic good.
Right.
So that's the Obeah goer and the church goer. They are really of the same family, just different sides of the one coin. I am speaking of the many who believe in neither thing. They're not going to the Obeah. They're not going to God. Mm-hmm. What they believe in is science, positive thinking, enlightened self-interest, that the world is that the world is a random place, and if you just need to survive it. There's a large majority of persons
who
are in that cohort,
and they're being shaken now.
And COVID shook up every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a friend say to me on the weekend that on Saturday, was saying that he had been reading some scientific journals and seeing where all the major scientific thinkers, had eventually come around to the recognition that this planet, this universe, this natural world was so finely balanced, such precision. If something had been a fraction to the left or to the right, it would be chaos.
Even in
they
terms
see
of
it sitting that they have concluded
finally,
there is design. There is a big brain behind it. And I mean, he was sharing it. It's not someone who is unbelieving of God and so on. It's just someone who don't have the discipline to stick with it.
The science is the science.
But
is the science.
he was referring to that awareness that amongst the scientific community that there is design, there is purpose, there is deliberate intent. It is not a big bang and it just everything land where it could and started to find its way from that point on. There's deliberate design.
Okay.
Right. So when we think of prophecy as an all-knowing, all-seeing God observing the choice we make and choosing to send a word of intervention that can cause you to choose differently, that is prophecy. The understanding that it either comes to allow you to be sustained so you don't collapse, or to change your path.
That's what it calls.
And the fact that you mentioned King David, who anointed at a tender age, teenager, yet never saw the necessity to use the sword to claim the throne. Never did. In fact, got opportunities, never took it. Was encouraged by his men, never took it.
I cannot do it because God set apart.
As a consequence, what did he earn for his bloodline?
Oh, forever shall he
there
sit on the
will
throne.
Always be a descendant of David on the throne. Even when for successive generations they behaved so badly that he had to take away 10 of the tribes.
And split it up.
Even when they behave so badly, the God of covenant says, always, somebody bearing your name will sit on the throne. So that is how you exercise choice to ensure that you and your bloodline do not become a casualty of the very prophecy that you fulfill. So let's talk about Jamaica now. Before we talk about Jamaica, I want to mention something that I actually saved it, Percival. I follow a series, not slavishly, I follow a series called the Reparations Conversation that the Gleaner carries on Sundays. It's one of the few things that I would say I actually like. And there is a little, oh wow, what is that? Is that half page? That's not half page. There's a 1/3 of a page story on page F7 of the Sunday Gleaner. Germany, Nigeria sign accord to return the Benin bronzes. Now, I'm aligning this report to the series that I am curating, The Wealth of Culture and the Culture of Wealth. The Benin bronzes are beautiful, ancient artifacts belonging to
Benin,
Nigeria. The people, right? The people of Benin were of an earlier age, and these beautiful pieces of artwork. There's a picture of several pieces that had been taken during the different colonial conquests, looted. Really, you go into a country, it would be. I mean, we saw the Jews. The Jews went through it in the Holocaust. Artwork taken, jewels taken. I mean, you're going to a beautiful home, and you're about to kill the people, but you're not gonna stay and live in the house. So you strip down all the beautiful things that are there, and you box them up and you carry them to your country as plunder. You take books, you take artwork, you take jewelry, you take whatever it is. You just rob the people. I mean, we do it here. Truck crash, it carrying flour or chicken or whatever. The community sweep down on it and take away the stuff, plunder, because you see that there's no one to defend it. It is stealing when we do it on the road and a motor vehicle accident. It is stealing when you do it in war. But of course, what they say, to the conquer goes the loot.
The loot and so on.
Yes. So the spoils of war. So it was recognized, of course, by those who wage war that the spoils of war goes to the conquering army. And individuals take, but a well-organized army will ensure, and we saw it even in the days of Abraham, when he went down and recovered goods.
A lot,
you pack it up and you bring it back. A decent, righteous person will restore it to the persons from whom it was taken.
Which is what has happened here.
There is precedent for restoring stolen goods to the rightful owner. Sometimes it's regarded as tribute.
Yeah.
You
Roman time, you bring tribute to your coming.
Where you think the tribute come from? The tribute come from out of the people
who have been defeated.
Who had absolutely you have to turn over a certain percentage of your crops or whatever. I remember reading it one at Solomon. Solomon received tribute of like from one country he got like they would say 1,000 lambs and the wool of 1,000 rams. I mean, that comes, but his wealth came from conquered people who were subject to him. So, if my friend is right that we black people are Jews, then we deserve to be enslaved, because what do you think they were doing, building their wealth? The wealth of Solomon came from tribute received from conquered countries. That's what tribute was. Anyway, I digress. Yes. Let's go. I see Percival is loving that one. So, Germany and Nigeria have signed an accord for the return of the Benin bronzes. So far, Germany it is to come, and they fully expect to keep a few pieces on loan, which is not unusual.
Makes sense.
It's either on loan or it's rented, and you pay tribute. You pay something to keep
use
it.
Of the people and things.
Right. France has already agreed to do so in relation to, let me tell you what France
Belgium
agreed to return. Yes. Let me tell you what France declared last year that it would return the Aboni treasures to Benin as part of a wider effort to make amends for colonial wrongs. Even America has done something. The Smithsonian removed 10 Benin bronze pieces from display at its National Museum of African Art in Washington and announced a new ethical return policy this year. And other U.S. museums have also begun discussions about returning such objects. So we've had France, Germany, the USA, Belgium, but most notably, not the United Kingdom.
They haven't done it as yet.
I want persons to understand that this willingness to return stolen treasures is part A of the reparations process. If you recognize that it's kind of an iterative process, If in the first iteration you recognize that stealing the cultural artifacts, and yes, we're talking about the wealth of culture. If you recognize that when you steal those things, you have stolen from the people and you need to give it back decades, centuries, whatever later.
So that's the underlying principle.
The next step is to recognize that when you thief the people, kidnap them and carry them away, you owe them something too.
That's true.
And continuing down the line, when you steal their labor,
you have to pay them for it.
And the value of their labor, you gotta. So you see, as you make each baby step towards that point of revelation and repentance, you have to do something. So Britain is the holdout. And that brings me to why we are still struggling with Jamaica's decision to take over the Commonwealth Secretariat position at the behest, at the urging of a UK government that today would not even return the cultural artifacts that were stolen. But understand that for them to do right comes at a cost. Part of the cost, of course, this is not even the cost now. This would be the reward, because there's a lot of prophecy about time to come and which nation will take what position. How you avoid becoming a casualty, or how you soften the blow, because sometimes you cannot avoid it, because what happened is that to shift a whole nation into a position of righteousness is not an easy task. But certainly you can improve the odds of survival by beginning to make those moves.
It can happen. It has happened. Nineveh was shifted into a place of repentance.
True.
it delayed it, but it never ultimately let the stop the destruction that was ahead of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah, so it's important to understand
that it is possible.
Yeah.
Earl Brown says, "Good morning, Earl." Earl says, What about some of those arts, demonic images and sculptures, Pastor Palmer?"
About them?
Yes.
You break it, you nullify it.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Because we recognize we have the greater power. Gone into the power argument, because remember Elijah was a power argument, Some of them people believe you need to destroy them because of what is attached to it. That's another argument altogether. But anyway, continue.
Now, I like what he's asking there, because
what it
he's
represents
saying,
is
when you take, there are two sides to the question, to what he has posed. When you take something saying that you have just stolen a piece of clay, but it actually has
implications and attachments,
some things vested in it that go and follow it wherever it goes, because it is a touch point, or it's a portal, or it is something of a deeper, darker spiritual. In the invisible world, space is irrelevant. The fact that it moved from Benin to UK in the Queen's Palace just mean that
you have opened the portal.
Right, and there are some things that may be visited on your nation because of what you've brought into it.
That's
you
true.
Remember when the Ark of the Covenant
went into the Philistine and then got fallen.
They got losing
drop
arm,
and
then head,
and so on.
Yeah, there are some things that can travel with it that you may not want in your
country. You don't
country.
want at all. And some of the times, I guess some people recognize it, that what it represents and brings today. You don't want it at all.
You want to send it back. Who knows? There might be a reason why Germany is saying, we're ready to give it back now. We can't take the crosses.
It's another side of the coin, and it is a reality. Yeah. I've known of persons who have gone to some countries, brought back some things, and them said, but since that came in, the atmosphere has changed in my house. And you're going, okay. And you go into the house and they invite you to pray and thing. I said, that thing there. And it's when they throw that thing, peace come back.
I actually had a pastor whose credibility is high with me tell me of being asked to pray for a woman in Western Jamaica who had been ailing mysteriously, every kind of cancer, and just never getting better. They were wealthy people, millions being spent trying to restore health, and eventually, that the man of God is usually the last port of call. You've tried everything else now.
come to we first.
Sometimes you've also tried the Obia woman or man too, and you've got no relief. And so he goes in to pray. And when he goes into the house, he notices that she's wearing an amulet.
On her, yes. Mm-hmm.
She is wearing, and it turned out to be a gift that had been obtained on some foreign travel. And he said to her, take it off.
Throw it away.
And yes. And
shift was instantaneous. I know that.
Health restored.
Yeah, man.
Health restored. He said it to me, and so
Earl asked that question, but it's too Earl. Some of us.
No, Earl says, so why bring back those things to the original countries? Would you want to keep a cursed object in your house? Maybe it's the owner curse it when you get it back.
He cursed it and say because you stole it, and you've seen that.
Let the owner deal with it.
Of the Lost Ark and all of those things, and you watch those movies. But
yes, they're tapping into some element of truth.
They don't even know what they're tapping into.
Yeah. But, and on the other side of it, do you remember the Turin shroud? The Shroud of Turin. This is a piece of fabric believed to have been
the garment that Jesus
wrapped Jesus' head in the tomb, and supposedly carries the imprint of his face on it. Persons believe it to be a very powerful religious artifact, and hunt for it, search for it, whatever, and then also don't forget the chalice from which Jesus drank. It is said in the Last Supper. Crusades have been run to recover it to hunt it down. Yes. What's it called again? It will come to me. But it's the chalice, a cup from which it is said that Christ drank. And soldiers have gone to war to recover it.
It's not a joke, That's what those wars were fought after. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Other things and about
because
the economic too.
Yeah, because you want to have it in your country, so you can benefit from the good vibrations that it carries. And don't forget, even with the Ark of the Covenant, when in this now is Bible story. I say Bible story, but part of the history of the Jewish people. When the war was being fought, the Philistines knew that it was important to try and steal the ark was lost. Poor Eli fell off his chair and died. Broke his neck when he heard that the ark had been taken. And it was a necessary thing to retrieve the ark, even though the ark was only symbolic representative of the presence. We know that God don't leave you because the ark is somewhere else. We all know that. But I guess it's in the same way, if something important is taken from you, you would want to do all that you can to recover it. Anne-Marie Hill, good morning. She says, we should talk about Jamaica. Anne-Marie Hill says, talk about Jamaica. You all know nothing about Africa. Stick to what you know. If these status has any type of curse, I think she means statues, these countries who stole it would have been cursed. They have been anything but. That's not true, Anne-Marie. So I would say stick to Africa and don't talk about Europe. Although that would be cheeky of me. I don't mean that. But thank you for the guidance, my dear. You have said it as lovingly as you can. And no one is saying they're cursed. We're responding to Earl asking a question about the return of these artifacts. Important cultural artifacts stolen during colonial conquest should be returned to their rightful owner.
That's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying. Good morning, Mr. Brown. He says, hail the item. As to the looting, a lot of Benin bronze is in the Homeman Museum, Forest Hill. Which one is that? Stolen artifacts are to be returned.
That's the point.
And enslaved people should be compensated. How you figure it out? And we see a line that runs without interruption between the seed planted long ago and the fruit that is reaped down the line. And if persons don't take the necessary action to break, to change, to put the right nourishment to the soil, we will continue to eat bitter fruit. It's now 8 a.m. We're going to take our break, and then when we come back, we will go into our conversations with the listeners. The numbers to call are 619-1508, 279-8473.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Bess FM-100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. A senior Ukrainian official has told the BBC that Ukraine's troops are setting up fortifications to prevent Russian forces advancing westwards after the fall of Lysychansk. Serhiy Haidai, governor of the Russian-occupied province of Luhansk, said Ukrainian forces had not been cut off during their retreat or suffered any losses during the manoeuvre.
Our military could have held the city for a long time, but Russia currently has a huge advantage in artillery and ammunition. They would simply have destroyed the city from a distance, so there was no point in staying. We would have been surrounded and had to sit there while the city was being shelled. Therefore, we decided not to allow an encirclement.
Russia has now stepped up its bombardment of cities in the Donetsk region. Government leaders and international organisations are meeting in Switzerland to draw up a roadmap for Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction, which they say will be conditional on Kyiv finally tackling rampant corruption and pushing through economic reform. The cost of rebuilding will run into hundreds of billions. State prosecutors in Uzbekistan say 18 people were killed during last week's unrest in the semi-autonomous region of Karakalpakstan. They say more than 200 people were injured, far fewer than the thousands reported at the weekend. Sasha Schlichter reports.
Karakalpakstan was never known for radical separatist tendencies, so the president's plans to remove its autonomy raised many eyebrows and eventually triggered the unrest. Karakalpakstan is huge, making up 40% of the area of Uzbekistan. The Karakalpak are a Turkic people, linguistically and culturally closer to Kazakhs. In fact, when the autonomy was formed in the 1920s, it was included in Kazakhstan, becoming part of Uzbekistan only in 1936. weeks. After the Soviet Union fell apart, it gained the status of a republic, but inside Uzbekistan for a limited period. Russia, which has already started a war on its western flank, will be keeping a wary eye.
Canada's embassy in China has confirmed that a Canadian citizen, a billionaire financier with connections to China's ruling Communist Party, will go on trial on Monday. In 2017, Xiao Jianhua is believed to have been abducted from a luxury hotel in Hong Kong by men thought to be Chinese security forces. At the time, Hong Kong police said he'd crossed the border into mainland China without investigating allegations he'd been taken against his will. Japan has lodged a formal complaint with Beijing after a Chinese Navy frigate sailed near islands in the East China Sea that are claimed by both countries. Chinese Coast Guard vessels regularly sail near the islets known as Senkaku Islands by Tokyo and the Diaoyu by Beijing, but this is the first time that a Chinese naval vessel is believed to have entered the area. World news from the BBC. Inflation in Turkey has hit the highest level in 24 years. Official figures show it rose in June to 78.6% when compared with the same month last year. Victoria Craig reports.
The war in Ukraine is continuing to exacerbate an already smoldering inflation situation in Turkey. In June, Russia's war, which has disrupted global food and energy supply chains, helped send transportation costs up 123% from a year ago, while food and beverage prices soared 93%. But many are growing increasingly skeptical of the reliability of official statistics. Unlike other global central banks, Turkey's, under pressure from President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has chosen not to use higher interest rates to combat inflation.
Rescuers in northern Italy have resumed their search for around 17 people still missing after an avalanche in the Dolomites. At least 6 people were killed and 9 others injured when parts of a glacier collapsed on Sunday. Bethany Bell reports.
Rescue teams with helicopters, sniffer dogs and drones continue the difficult and dangerous search for the missing. A huge mass of ice on the Marmolada, the highest peak in the Dolomites, collapsed on Sunday on a route used by hikers and climbers. The avalanche struck one day after a record high temperature of 10 degrees Celsius was recorded at the summit. The Marmolada Glacier has shrunk steadily in recent decades because of rising average temperatures.
Egypt's foreign currency reserves have had a welcome boost after the Suez Canal posted record revenues for the latest fiscal year. The head of the Canal Authority, Usama Rabia, said the $7 billion earned in the past 12 months was more than 20% higher than the previous record. He said recent global crises proved the importance of the canal to the world's supply chains. BBC News.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Bess FM, keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning. Button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you want a boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard if you a fisherman. Make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, river bank, or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and a sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Calling all donors! STEM Uprising invites you to their blood drive and back to school treat.
at the Percy Junior Hospital, Manchester, on July 15th, 2022. The event starts at 9 a.m. Come on out! Refreshment and entertainment provided. Lots of back-to-school giveaways. And guess what? You can win big. There's a prize for bringing the highest number of donors. Yes! Bring a friend. Give blood. Save a life.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Let's see what Earl had put a note that okay, well, he retracted it, but to Anne-Marie, who was saying that Europe, those countries who stole it, would have been cursed, and they have been anything but.
True.
Yeah.
That in terms of some things. It depends
I
on what
actually said those thieving countries for centuries they have been having wars upon wars. And COVID, don't mention how the producer just reminded me how COVID took them down. Yeah. And Earl, Holy Chalice, the Holy Grail. Thank you, Earl. I was trying to remember. Many wars have been fought for the retrieval or the search of the Holy Grail. The Knights Templars, who have been touted as the father of the same lodge that we are talking about in Jamaica.
That's one of them.
Yeah, man. They've searched out
Masons, the Freemasons.
The Freemason Society. We are still talking about the power of the lodge. Well, those same persons are credited with launching massive bloody campaigns to find the Holy
Good morning, caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
How are you, Wayne?
Hi, Wayne. How are you?
I'm crying.
You're crying? What happened, Wayne?
Minett love me no more.
Oh, that is not even possible. So dry your tears. you can dry your tears.
Anyway, sometimes, well, you don't see a talker say something about thieving out of fox and they are cursed and there be war and war. Fighting all this been going on, you know?
Yes.
Anyway, sometimes I listen people saying that, speaking hopeful of Jamaica, that better will come and such and such. And when me hear them talking, all the while I'm in spirit, I keep remembering Jeremiah. When Jeremiah, I tell them, say, surrender to the Babylonian, Nebuchadnezzar, when name, and
for the time.
at least when you spare your life and spare the city from being destroyed, and then lock him up and say, I'm a traitor, and the Lord will deliver them, and something, you know. And as him say, as Jeremiah say, that happened. You see, the people them have to understand that them live sinful life in many ways. It's not just people who kill people who live sinful life, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and until the people them can realize that, confess them sin to the God of creation, and try to do better, pray for him strength and help and inspiration and enlightenment, and strive to better. It's like just vain hope, vain imagination, vain good wishes.
Yeah, empty words.
Yeah, and one more thing come to my mind to ask Miss Minett.
Yes, sir.
Remember Abraham? And Abraham said God tell himself to sacrifice his son.
Yes.
One and only son he had been praying for all these years.
Oh, yes, on the Mount
And
of
he
Moriah.
got there with the intention to sacrifice his son.
Absolutely.
Right? Miss Minett, I think that was a wise thing Abraham though. Really got to kill him, Pitney.
You know, it's interesting that you...
You better get accustomed to Pastor answering for Minett.
No problem, no problem.
Go ahead,
You just
Pastor.
have to specifically,
Yes,
but
yes.
let's let Pastor forgive me, man, that though.
Yeah, go on, Pastor. You go first.
And there are a whole lot of context behind of it. That, you know, child sacrifice in those times was a regular thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have started there, Pastor, but okay, so your answer. It is your answer. You go ahead.
Yeah, but those who know the true Almighty God know that the Almighty God not deal with human sacrifice.
Correct.
But otherwise, it's a regular thing, yeah.
Yeah, but he wanted to see, my understand how much he trusted the word that was spoken to him. Because if you say to me, this son is going to cause it to be the father of many nations, and you say to give him to me, then I must trust you that you're going to find a way that that word that you have spoken will become a reality. As he meant looking at me in the studio, but because that is what absolute trust, faith, and confidence in the word that is spoken will result in. Because for many of us, like some of the things we have said, God answered this, and God said, give it back to me, which is what it was. And he says, I trust you enough that you must know what you're doing, God, so I leave it up to you. That's
knowing nice. Him know the true Almighty God, yeah?
Yeah.
So, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I work with that same answer there.
But not in the way it was delivered, because I have to think, what would cause me to, because he said sacrifice, and it's not just sacrifice. He said burnt sacrifice. It's not like Samuel's mother who carry him and leave him in the temple because she say, give me a child, I'll give him back to you. But she know that he's alive, and every year she go up and she bring clothes for him, and she know he's there.
That's why Abraham never tempted Sarah.
He said burnt sacrifice. That means tie him up, cut him neck, throat, and then light a fire.
Yeah.
What would cause a parent to go that distance? And the only thing I can say is, you said, was it a wise choice? It was the only choice. This is not a situation of, do I have a choice? Am I applying wisdom? Abraham was living in a time when his knowledge and I have to try stand in his shoes now and say his knowledge and understanding of God is that if God say, give me,
he must know.
It's not really a request, it's a command, because you are so fearful of the consequence of doing otherwise. And when I think about that account in the Bible, it is not just about, I don't think about Abraham. I think about Isaac, who went along, lie down there, him father time up, him not even a protest. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. How did he remain a part of it until, even when he said to his father, I don't see the sacrificial lamb, and his father is telling him that the Lord will provide. Clearly, Isaac was saying, what's going on here?
He asked himself the question.
We carry wood, we have fire. You say leave the men and just me and you a soldier on. And you build altar. You're ready to go, and I don't see anything to die. And it's just me and you.
And the pictures that we have is of Isaac as a child. As a child, he was about 17, 18. Was big enough.
He was not a baby that couldn't fight him father. He was able to carry his share of the load. So he was old enough to be walking and asking
understanding
questions.
what it was
so
about.
When I think about it, I don't even think about Abraham, to be honest with you. I think about Isaac. I see myself as that child going along with my father. And my father said, lie down on the altar, and I lie down. Oh my God. And my father's arm is up in the air with the knife. And then the intervention. It's a faith-building exercise.
It was on both sides.
As Christ child say, you have to love the Most High God more than you love your mother, your father, yourself,
and then
your children, your husband, your wife.
And then to make it personal, you have a child, you have a daughter. Maybe that child falls ill, and you're looking at the child and saying, God, you gave her to me. Are you taking her? And then you now have to come to that point where you say, if you choose to take her. I've had to come to that place with my own child, because I never knew, until you are looking at a child, maybe sick, maybe you haven't heard from them for a while, you're not sure what happened, and you're beginning to imagine everything. And you have to come to yourself where you say, okay, Lord, if you take this child, what next? Anyway, finish making your point, because it is as current today as it is.
Question, additional question that was in my mind, so I'm going to ask you. Right, suppose the Spirit of the Lord come to you personally, Miss Minett, and say, so tonight, Oh, yeah, your husband drink a nice drink of wine and you give him all you have, the best you have. When him drop asleep, you cut him throat as a sacrifice to me. Would you do it?
Well, no. I wouldn't. I would never.
I mean, you're not as faithful as Abraham.
No, it's because I would never believe that the Lord would say that to anyone now. Because he because he has given covenants.
And him don't change. Remember the Lord never changed, so I don't see why money say to him, to someone who know him.
That's why I'm saying to you, context is important, my brother. The context, because we are under a new covenant, a better covenant, a covenant that is
but stick with what you were saying about covenant. He doesn't change. He had given a covenant to Abraham about concerning Isaac. So when he called on Abraham to do something that seemed impossible, Abraham was clinging to that covenant. The covenant that he gave me with Lowell don't include cutting Lowell's throat. So if something come in my spirit that say, and Lowell say he agree. So if something come to me in the night that say, cut Lowell's throat, first it would need to demonstrate to me that that is God, because the covenant under which he put me with Lowell don't involve that.
Covenant, that's important thing.
I wouldn't have anything to test it against. And let's understand, when it comes to prophecy, whether it is coming to you as a man, woman of God, or somebody brings it to you, you have to test it. In the Bible doesn't tell you how Abraham satisfied himself that this was the Lord, but Abraham had previous contact with God, and so it is recited as an accepted encounter with God. I would have to be satisfied in my spirit and with my knowledge that this is God telling me to cut my husband's throat.
Then suppose it is God. You know a God. Without a doubt, would you do it? Would you attempt to do it?
And so there's a holy power we are testing the spirit.
Well, you asked, you shouldn't have said the producer, because he's looking at me and shaking his head.
Testing.
So you need to build it. He said God would never ask you that. You need to build it around another example. But let me tell you what the Spirit of God has said to me. And it was not about Lowell, it was about me. When it was my time to be sacrificed, he said, don't fight it. And I had every instinct in my body telling me to fight it. And I had to consider it closely and carefully and understand that he meant go quietly, let it run its course. And the reason I'm even on air talking to you today is because I let it run its course. I had to die. I had to remain quiet and submissive in the face of huge, enormous injustice.
You see, with I still, within myself still, with all those trials we got through, I feel like the Lord have a greater purpose than that for you.
She's like a Job. Like a Job.
You know? I think you have a greater purpose to us.
But let me just say something as we bring the call to a close, my brother. You know, Minett and myself can speak about that simply because of relationship that we have with this God that we talk so much about. It's based on relationship and understanding and how he has revealed himself to us through the person of Jesus Christ. So let's not forget that. All right, my brother, thanks.
Yeah, man, bless up.
Good.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Shalom.
How are you, my brother? You heard me call you out this morning.
I'm great. Yes, I heard that Samuel out, but I didn't thought it was this one.
No, we give you the name Samuel. You call it Salawam, but we are saying Samuel. Go ahead.
He says Shalom for shalom.
Shalom is a greeting, right?
Yes, the greeting,
It's a Paleo-Hebrew word for peace.
We know Shalom, but we call you Samuel. Is that your name, sir?
All right. Well.
Go on, make your point here. Don't be distracted.
In the
English pronunciation.
English translation, but it's really Shamwala.
Okay.
In the Paleo-Hebrew, Shamwala.
Okay.
All right, Shamwala.
Okay. All right. I want to complete something that I said I would try to call, but last week when I called,
Yes.
And it goes on the basis of revelation. I want to speak something on this topic this morning also. But it go back to the basis of what that in Daniel 7:25, and he shall seem to change laws and times, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and they shall be given into his hand. Yeah, in regards to that, there was a subject speaking on some of the kingdoms of old, and there are some geographical name given that doesn't apply today, like Iraq. They want to say Iraq. Iraq today is what was ancient Babylon, and that is not so. It's really ancient Assyria. Assyria, from the people of Ashur. But what I want to let it be known that the geographical location of place is being changed in this time, and that little Kohan beast in Revelation did it today, for they are the one ruling today, and what they did, they changed up geographical name and location, etc., to give themselves the glory. There's one people on the earth that claim all of the ancient empires. They said they were the Jewish people, they were the Israelites, they said they were the Babylonian, they were the Egyptian, they were everybody, and every time they make a movie, it's all them you see. Do you know what people is that?
No, sir, you're about to tell us.
No, those are the so-called Caucasian people, white people. Every time they make a movie, it's all about them. All right, let me see. Asian Babylon.
And you're attributing it to a deliberate intention to seize other people's history, not just
and steal people heritage,
not just
and
ignorance, not just ignorance. You're not saying it's ignorance.
Yes, it's an intelligent decision to do all of these things, and Christ even says that. They say that they are Jews, Revelation 2:9, but they are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. They have the land of Israel, and they say that's their land. They are the original people of that land.
There was a time when only men could be on stage. As a consequence, men played the role of women. Do you think they were trying to steal the femininity and claim to be women?
No, not in that context. What you see, these are historical true events, because I want to.
All I'm saying to you, Shamwala, is that when persons act in their time and moment because of customs or necessity, we can look back at it with hindsight and say that it was a deliberate intent to steal history and power grab and so on. But sometimes it's no more than people working with what they have.
No, not in this case, sister.
But carry on.
I'm going to be... Okay. Yes. All right. For instance, I'm going to give you a typical, realistic example. All right. When you read Esther, the book of Esther, what kingdom did take over Babylon? What kingdom subsequently, after the fall of Babylon? Which kingdom take them down, Pastor?
No, man, you need to make your point.
Just
say what you're saying, because we're not going to...
It's the Mede and the Persian. After Babylon fell, it was taken down by that was also prophesied in the book of Isaiah chapter 45. Darius of the Mede and Persia. They took down Babylon. So Babylon, ancient Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar Babylon, it's Ethiopia. People would not believe that, but it's obvious. That's why when you read Esther, it said Xerxes Azarias, that's another name. He reigned 175 provinces from Ethiopia to where?
So, Shamwala, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
No,
because
I'm just trying to establish this. We were talking about the Benin brand and the robbery and the rape of so-called spoils of war.
All right, so There's
one particular race of people that keep doing these things. One. And I just want to make him clear, because the Lord said...
Then you don't need to just say that, man.
Who said that? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it?
You need to say it.
All right, go ahead.
No, you need to say it, my brother, because we don't have the time to do it through the genealogy of the... Right.
I understand.
Right.
So who were the people you say?
I will call back another time. But let me finish by saying...
Yes.
You see, they talk about giving back brand, but they don't talk about giving back the gold.
Okay. Now you're getting warmer to a contemporary discussion, but it starts somewhere. Do you agree with me that it's a kind of an iterative process where each time you take one step, and it may be another generation of politicians who realize that, listen, there will be no peace until we give back the gold and make full restoration or reparations. Because what we're talking about is a cycle that flows with the process of righteousness. And it runs a particular course or not at all. And either mankind have to put time and effort into getting back into a path of righteousness. Sorry.
Well,
Go ahead.
That would be all well and good, but it's too little, too late.
All right.
I will just quickly end by saying this.
You know, one of the things.
He's gonna end by saying something, so let's get the end.
Go ahead, Pastor.
No, man, finish. You finish and I'll comment because we have another call online.
And in addition to reparation, you mentioned briefly, Pastor, about the man stealer, and because they speak on giving back something, the trivial things, but they don't speak of repatriation. The man stealer, Exodus 20:21 and verse 16. And this is why I said it's too little, too late. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Okay.
No, you know why we are still here and not home? Let me tell you something, sister.
Mm-hmm.
All black people are not Jews. And I read it some time ago from the Compact Bible Dictionary, which is a scholarly work. The Negroes, when we just came on the slave ship, we were called Negroes. The Jews presently reside in North America, the black people in North America, the so-called black Americans, Jamaica and the Caribbean, which are the tribe of Benjamin. North America are the tribe of Judah. Jesus Christ. This is why Jesus Christ is coming back first in the America to destroy it. To take his people out of there.
All right.
And listen now.
So
Levi,
we are to be repatriated. That is the end.
Well, by Christ. This is why he's going to destroy it. This is why he said he's going to come back because they won't let us go. He's going to come back and found us in their hand. That's why we are not repatriated.
And
because
they shall be put to death.
They already took Israel, the land of Israel, and say it's theirs. And it's all in the Bible. We just need to read. And I agree with what what's his name? Paul said in the first, but I don't agree with him in cutting the truth. I agree what he said. We have to love the Lord with all our heart. So, matter of fact, God is our Father. And listen now, Pastor.
I agree with you on that too.
You see Haiti? Haiti is the tribe of Levi. That's the priestly tribe.
All right, my
Aaron,
brother.
Miriam,
we got to
and
take
Moses,
our
Aaron,
8:30 break.
And Aaron. Okay, great. I appreciate it. I will call back.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
You can hear a difference you can feel.
Bess FM-100 on your dial. Keep listening.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
Call us at 926-3866. We are something special on the road.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Calling all donors! STEM Uprising invites you to their blood drive and back to school treat at the Percy Junior Hospital, Manchester on July 15th, 2022. The event starts at 9 a.m. Come on out! Refreshment and entertainment provided. Lots of back to school giveaways. And guess what? You can win big! There's a prize for bringing the highest number of donors. Yes! Bring a friend. Give blood, save a life.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, and good morning to the caller who has been holding. Thank you for waiting. Good morning. Good morning. Hello? Yes, thanks for holding.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Go ahead, we're hearing you.
How you guys doing, man?
Oh, we are well, thank you very much.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
I'm okay, man.
What's up?
I called an ex-radio station recently about what took place in Parliament last week. Well, one of the things that the minister said that the current opposition presided over the worst financial atrocity in the Western Hemisphere. And I had made the point that the worst financial atrocity in the Western Hemisphere was the Great Recession. But I was currently challenged by Mr. Wayne Chen.
Oh, who was not going so far back and wanted to talk about FinSac, yes.
But I mean, I'm going to look into what he said, and I will rebut. Also, we're talking about bank fees, and the host of the program was all he says, is that the banks are powerful and I can't just implement regulation just like that.
Oh, you can't?
That's what he's saying.
So what is the purpose of the government?
To facilitate the banks.
Because the banks are too powerful.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there are things that the banks are doing that are illegal. Why can't we just go in and deal with these things? And he's still on the point that the banks are powerful.
In other words, the banks make their own law.
Yes.
Well, my bank told me that they wrote to the Bank of Jamaica and asked for permission to change the time for negotiating checks from, must say, 3 days to 4 days, and it was granted, and so that is what the time that it takes. So if he were right, the bank wouldn't need to go to Bank of Jamaica
to negotiate.
I mean, BOJ should be the supervisor of the banks.
It is. BOJ in law is the supervisor of the banks. You know, earlier we were talking about power and authority and who has authority and the understanding that no one has power, really. You have authority to access power based on the office you occupy or the people who give you permission to do things. What we lack in many quarters of leadership is persons who have strength to utilize personal strength and commitment to use the authority that they have. Because if Bank of Jamaica have the authority and choose not to use it, the bank don't have the authority to set their own rules beyond a certain line.
And I mean, the minister was asked a question if the banks are collecting fees from customers if they would collapse. The minister, it was a simple yes or no answer. The minister tried to make a statement for them to say that these are the monies that they use to develop their systems and so forth. These are the same banks that have...
you heard Pastor's answer? Say it again, Pastor.
Okay.
It's what other people would call kiss my teeth.
Yeah. But these are the banks that have great reserves in the BOJ that are now getting 5.5% on their reserves. The BOJ is paying them to keep their money in the reserve wallet at the BOJ. So there's no need for fees to develop the bank. I looked at I was trying to look at the market leader balance sheet this morning, and believe you me, it's complex. And I'm wondering, why does it have to be this complex? I could not identify fees, normal fees. I could not identify it.
You couldn't. They set it that way. They don't do it. If they wanted to, they could pull it out that you could look at it. And so the truth is, you would have to be so very You have to understand it and know that you can do the proper investigation and research and be able to go behind the figures to see what is really happening. You can't do that. Because when you called last week, I tried looking at it because you can go online and see what is there. But it's so it's not complex. It's complex because you do have the knowledge and the skill set to do it. But
what I'm saying that people, you have simple persons who have invested in this bank and who are shareholders of the bank. Shouldn't the information be as simple for them that they can look at it and get some understanding from what is it saying?
Well, shareholders of the bank would be privy to the bank's annual report that you must publish with your accounts, your audited accounts, for the benefit of your shareholders. And if you have a specific question, you would have to go to the annual general meeting and ask it, or if you have a process where you can write to the secretary of the company and make your requisitions. Now, these are some of the things that Jamaicans need to be more aware of. And like you are in this business, I would say to you, as buy any of the banks that are publicly traded,
buy some shares.
Buy a share or two. You just need to be in a position of entitlement. It's something that I've actually contemplated, because it allows you, it gives you the authority to do a number of things, to demand information. And if as a shareholder your demand is not met with the level of rigor that is customary or necessary, you can bring action against them in court. And it's one of the things we have not yet grown into doing in Jamaica, where we position ourselves. Advocacy groups that want to see change in certain areas need to give themselves legal standing in those institutions, especially when they're publicly traded. It is so easy. You get a broker to buy something for you, and then you line up your ducks because you know that these things are happening. Most famously, Jason Abraham did it with Cable and Wireless.
Force them,
That's something to talk about one day.
I tried looking at one of the small banks, one of their balance sheets.
Yes.
I could appreciate it more.
Yeah, because it had more details. More relevant details, let's put it that way.
But I recognize that the banks have international conglomerates as well. But when I calculated fees that the banks made, that particular bank made in excess of $7.2 billion in fees only.
But mind you, there might be a number of things in fees that's not readily apparent, because every service that a bank provides has a fee associated with it, and some of those services are not necessarily to retail customers. And the fees that we are concerned about are the ones that affect the everyday person, that is for whom the bank is just holding your money. You're not getting any benefit more than the treasury service that they provide, because you're not earning any interest on it to speak of.
And for this particular bank, the card fees that would be a regular debit card.
Yes.
Used at the ATM machine was over $1.152 billion.
In other words, you're paying them. You pay them to keep your money. All right, Corey, we have another call on the line that we need to get to. So thanks very much for sharing with us this morning.
All right, no problem.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Pastor Bess.
Good morning, my brother. There's a lot of noise in the
Turn
background
off your
where
radio.
you are.
Right. Let me move, man.
Thank you.
You hear me better now?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you. It was just that there was some background noise that was taking away from you.
Minett.
Yes,
Minett.
sir. Yes.
I need some legal advice.
What is happening to you now?
Yes, but I'm from Clarendon.
Yes.
At the place in Brazil, near under the Bullet Mountain.
Yeah.
You know what happened now, Miss Minett? From I was 12, 13, my father had to play at the Cumberland side of the forest. Yes, and a couple of weeks ago I was up here cutting some wood. And some forest people and police came in on me.
Yes.
The police and then the survey people came and said that it's false land, Miss Minett. And my father's work was working for 50 years. I went to high school when I was 12, and when I was 13, we live in that place. We work, we do everything. And right now, You hear me?
Yes, man, I'm hearing you. So were you arrested or they just told you can't?
No, I wasn't arrested, but they gave me like the papers. I was go to court, but I want to take them to court before they take me to. Because it's 50 years. We have that land and feet could come cut from and you have to pay us for it.
Yes.
So, what I should do, Miss Minett, every morning, I call you and ask you advice and pass the fee.
All right.
Gonna take your number.
Yes, I'm gonna have to take your number and then kind of give you a strategy on how to approach it and put you with the right person.
Yes.
So just yes.
Listen every day, Bongo Jerry, I'm a great boy.
Oh well.
Just when you see Bongo Jerry more.
Yes.
Just think a crab it call and that explain. Yeah, crab. Them call me crab. You know me as crab.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So stay on the line.
Yes?
Stay on the line so that the
number.
engineer can take your number.
I will. And both of you are nice. You're part of
Thank you, my brother.
All right. Bless up, mommy.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning, my dear.
I should have copyright my thing.
Which one?
I think I was the first one that mentioned that your station is religious hard talk, and then that guy from Melbourne called after me and said religious soft talk.
Soft talk.
Soft talk.
Yeah.
So which one you want to copyright? Oh, the religious. Anyway,
joking.
yes, I know you are. What's happening?
I heard you talking about these two men that should have been stopped, and you didn't stop.
Yes.
And they went to do some bad stuff.
Yes.
Like I said, some people won't change. They will. It's genes to do what they do.
But who would you blame more? Would you blame me who could have stopped them? Well, not me. I was too young to stop anybody at that stage. But where would you place the blame? The one who should have stopped it or the one who, as you say, to not going to change?
Yeah.
The one that should have stopped them, that were above you, they're the same as that person.
Okay.
A lot of people goes into politics or certain place to achieve wealth, and they're hell bent on getting it no matter what. You know.
Yes.
The other point I was talking about, did you saw where they bury that Congo leader, Percival, with his golden cap?
The gold tooth that survived.
They buried it. So maybe that too, Percival was causing some problems in
No, true. I mean, we laugh now, but as small a thing as that, yes. Let me tell you, it's an important thing to take those steps. It's an important thing because by returning it, they were as many people said, it finally settled the question of their involvement, and they must have known that to have it meant something, and to return it also have a meaning.
So why was that man so powerful that they have to dissolve his body in acid?
Well, first, I think they're covering up the crime too.
They will try to do it, yeah, because when you read the account, it speaks to how powerful he was and the impact he have. And I'm saying, you know what? Let us have no remnants or remains of it at all.
Because think about what happened. Go back into the Old Testament stories too. And Jezebel, the only thing left was her skull and her
bones.
Yes. Sometimes that is the extent of how much there should be no trace of a person. But it's a very important thing. When a leader is very charismatic and powerful, his burial ground becomes a shrine that centers the perpetuation of his influence. So you also don't want to have a shrine. If the body is taken and buried in a place where people of like mind can come and pay homage, then the ideas that he represented will continue to live and create trouble for the persons who killed him in the first place. Everybody knows a person who is martyred for their faith, their belief, has more power in death than in life.
Yeah. The other thing, this is for Pastor. And I need a straight, honest answer. Pastor, you always kind of dodge from
Listen, man, me now make you say them things about Pastor.
No.
Santa, what you say now?
Pastor is supposed to vex. Pastor is supposed to have a clean and honest heart and welcome.
No, him not go vex. That's why me respond.
Yes, I know.
How old was Cain when he killed Abel? About how old?
You know when I know? I've never considered.
See, you got an honest, open response. You say no, you never think about it.
Never think about it.
But I didn't you study about those stuff?
But you see...
No, nobody talk about Cain's age.
Yes, if you think about it.
How old was he?
I heard you saying...
You have studied it. How old was he?
I don't know. I don't know either.
Oh, okay. Why you wanted to know, though? What made you curious?
No, I wanted to find out where did he, after he left to another land to find his wife. But anyway, that story gonna leave for another time. What I want to ask Pastor about now, he said that Christianity was here from creation.
Not Christianity. No, Pastor never said Christianity was here from creation. He could never say that.
What did he say then? He said that about, I think it's about Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. He said that to someone.
In terms of Christianity?
Yeah.
Because, interestingly, the name Christianity was birthed a long time after. Yeah.
Coming from Christ.
And interestingly, it was a joke. People used to use it to mock them.
And I think you were saying either religion or it was something about relationship with God.
That's what I was talking.
Worship of God is from creation.
That's what I was talking. Yeah.
Yes, if you were to go on YouTube and replay it and hear him say the word Christian, he did not mean Christian.
Worship of God, relationship with God.
Because I remember I remember what you were talking about. But
yeah, because Christianity and Judah and Islam started about in the same
time.
About 3,000 years ago, or about 2,000 something.
But the worship of God was long before that.
Yes, people always worship God, but the other question for you, Pastor, who do you think is the most evil people, person in the universe right now?
Evil people.
Evil person.
Yeah, because that's a question.
You mean a specific individual?
Yes, I want him to name who do you think is the evilest person in the universe.
Of course, he could only say it based on the persons of whose existence he's aware.
Yeah.
Because it might be somebody who is secretly working and nobody know that
they're evil.
For example, some people might say Putin and it might really be Putin's wife. Who, it might be someone who's working in the shadows and you don't know. Who do you think is the most?
Why didn't you? I'm not saying it, Biden. Then why did you jump on Putin? Why didn't you say Biden is more evil than Putin?
Because I know
where you're going with that.
I know you would know. I know you would respond by giving me a name. So I chose somebody you like, so you could give me a name.
No, it's not an earthly person. It's not an earthly person.
See, we're getting warmer. Who says a person that is not of the earth? Is it a person if it's not of the earth?
Yes.
It's a spiritual being or
It's a spiritual being. The person
all right.
that we call God. You check history, what he does. We kill, we join so many people.
Careful.
Oh dear. All right. I'm gonna let you go so you don't go any further.
Careful.
I have another caller on the line. Take care.
All right.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome.
How are you?
I am very well, Rusty.
Hi, Rusty. How you do?
No, I'm a bad man. You can credit me my last week, whole week.
Rusty, what kind of phone you have? DR Flow, yeah. Which one
you have? But we don't want to waste any more Rusty money.
The last time you called, by the time you open the mouth, I'm going to
talk I know. All right, the line broke. All right, talk
leave
before
the number
credit
and I'll personally send credit to your phone.
Do you find out How much money the campaign cost?
No, everybody asks a question, Rusty.
Not yet, Rusty, but I saw in the paper yesterday one journalist wrote an article quoting someone who said that the $99,000 PR fee was actually per month for 3 months and not a one-off charge for the period, so that at least now one person is suggesting that it could be a minimum, because that was only for the PR firm. There's the travel expenses and other things that we haven't heard yet. I've seen one journalist say that they ought to provide it within 2 weeks. So I don't know if somebody has written and
So what happened to the information? Why the information can't come out? What happened to the journalists to go seek out information?
They're seeking it out. But understand now, Rusty, that if you ask for it, the government promised that at the end of the campaign they would give it. The campaign ended a week or so ago. And those who can ask for it under the Access to Information Act would need to wait at least 21 days. And I saw one journalist.
No, I don't agree with this thing, man. Because when Mrs. Portia Simpson Miller was traveling, he never take no time at all to find out what it costs. So why we can't know these things now? Why we try to cover up and try to hide these things for the public?
Well, I would suggest to them.
Journalists must quickly jump out to talk about what it costs Mrs. Portia Simpson Miller to travel. Why they can't quickly come forward with this information? Huh?
Persons could investigate and come up with an estimate based on the cost of travel, how many people went with her, and so on and so forth. You're right. There was a breach. Yes.
The credit going on because I was waiting a long time, so the credit gone and all.
All right. Give the engineer your number. Percy going to send credit to your phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Take Rusty's number, please. Yes.
What I must do? Wait an hour.
No, give it now because you only have a minute left.
Yeah. Number is 791.
All right. No, someone is taking it. I didn't want him to give it publicly. All right. So Rusty is right about the methods used to gain the information. I was speaking about the legitimate, legally available course of using the Access to Information Act and waiting your 21 days and getting the information. But of course, when the traffic bureau thing was going, it was a bank staff who broke rules.
Who is now dead.
And,
she passed.
Okay, Pastor said that lady is now dead. She passed away. So you know there are consequences for bad behavior too. So you don't want to necessarily go a distance unless you have a righteous cause. But persons who know the cost of travel and so on can say she went to Africa, she went here and there, she traveled first class, there were 5 people in the party, whatever, and put together and test the information that is coming out of government. Do we have someone on the line now? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning, Minett. Morning, Pastor.
Morning, my brother. I'm sorry I was chatting away, not knowing you were on the line. Go ahead.
No problem. But like I said this quickly, all politicians waste Jamaican people money and travel. 10 of them, 20 of them, and what to get in return. All right. Mm-hmm. I'm a bit puzzled, Miss Minett.
Yes.
Probably I'm ignorant to that, but explain something to me. On Friday, last week Friday, on Beachwood Avenue, obviously you have 2 gas stations there. Mm-hmm. And the road was jam-packed, tight going both ways. All right? A friend was coming out, I was behind him. And obviously you stop and you're going to wait till the gap free, you try to go across. One police was coming in the opposite direction in a private motor car, but we don't know say police because I was behind them. And the Kingfisher look like Riverton City. I will reject it, say a police car. Mm-hmm. The other one coming there, opposite direction in Hilux. The guy go across. And the police at the Kingfisher literally come down on the guy, come down, the guy have to stop. And then pass the guy and come out of the car in a minute. Mm-hmm. And come out short like a door. Like him a go a World War II. Move from out of the road. Move, no. And me I say, I got this.
And a boy up to 55-year-old man, you tell me now, Miss Minett, you put two gas station. Everybody a rush that station.
Yes. Yes.
And you send back the man, so obviously the man going back in the gas station to live. And the other one come down in the Hilux and say, boy, move the vehicle now.
Just two policemen kick off.
You can't talk to the man like that.
No,
But
two
when I
policemen abusing one citizen.
Two policemen abusing one big man. Big man. I may have to say, listen, that's why I told you over 85% of police officers who is black man don't have no respect for them color and don't respect the decent law-abiding citizens. And the government don't do nothing about it to say, listen, when you come across big people who decent law-abiding citizens, respect them. They can't do that to the boss man. They can't do that to the taxi man, the gunman. They can't do that. You come out like you go war with this bag of poster and gun around you. And disrespect a decent law-abiding citizen in a nice SUV. Forget about the SUV, but you look on the mind, the mind that big respect the citizen.
Yes.
Hey boy, move the back up now.
Whoa.
All right. So I said, no, you can't do the man like that.
So you intervened?
Yeah, I drive up on the and you go about your business before I charge you. And
that's how they treated you now. You must go about your business.
I must go about my business. And I said, no, you can't talk to me like that. Don't do that. You understand then, man? Must I say, no, me, whatever, my ex, whatever, I'm going to Lord. When I'm trying to do, I intimidate you. Them can arrest.
You know that, Carla, that is one of the things I keep calling out in this nation. There's a spirit of intimidation that is used at the highest level, at the lowest level, or relate to each other. We have to stop. We have to stop it, this spirit of intimidation. And I join with you, because some of the times I ask myself when I see how the police are on the road, I have respect for them. I say, but you can't deal with people, sir. You keep forgetting that these are the people that you're asking to help you in this fight against crime. You can't deal with people, sir.
Yeah.
Pastor, thank you. You are get paid because you don't want to solve crime, but yes, you don't have a Jamaican citizen to report things. And then be friend with the Jamaican citizen, so be friend with the customer so they can pass on information to you. Mrs. Minett?
Yes, sir.
Pastor, what they do is intimidate the people like them are God, like them are law. I said, no, not a law. We don't enforce the law, not the law.
Yeah.
That number one, you shouldn't even come out of the car without
identifying yourself.
Right.
In the middle of the road, Pastor, block the road. Move now. Arrest, move. I'm saying they can't deal with the fitness, so Uno can't chat to the fitness this generation. I want to disrespect the big man, stand up there. I'm going to say, I reverse. No, Miss Minett, if the traffic on both sides, obviously now wait till that space is there, you come out and say,
of course.
Because the traffic not moving. It's not moving.
So, earlier we were talking about the Prime Minister's comment about anti-violence strategies and programs and so on. And the very thing you're talking about fits into that.
They're not making the
because
connections.
when you treat a citizen like that, and as two of you are saying, that same citizen is to be cooperative and be respectful to you when you need them. And you're creating resentment in the hearts of people and mistrust, deepening a divide that is already in a terrible state. Not right. And I applaud you for interceding. But next time, don't tell them to go away. You need to elevate the tone of the intervention and stick with it, so you don't end up being a casualty of your own good deed.
We have a war fighting, Mrs. May. We decent law-abiding citizens, we love Jamaica, we travel from much of country and still come here and pay with tax and make sacrifice. We have a war to fight. The police after them is after. You don't prevent nothing. We have 1,000 Jamaican die. Out of the 1,000, now the policemen them don't prevent 500 of that. They come after with the horse with big M16. I start a fandango around them, I pose and intimidate decent law-abiding Andrew Wallace and the one with my Minister of National Security.
All right, we're at the 9 o'clock. We've gone, my brother, we're gone past 9 o'clock. We got to take the break. I'm getting the signals. Either if you can hold and just continue, finish it up when we come back. Thank you very much. Let's take our break.
Yeah, bro.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Bess FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
People, are you listening? If you
choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get out! Get out! Heed the warning! For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Easy. Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
Calling all donors! STEM Uprising invites you to their blood drive and back to school treat at the Percy Junior Hospital, Manchester on July 15th, 2022. The event starts at 9 a.m. Come on out! Refreshment and entertainment provided. Lots of back to school giveaways. And guess what? You can win big! There's a prize for bringing the highest number of donors. Yes! Bring a friend. Give blood, save a life.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. Go ahead, my brother. I know you were wrapping up your point.
What I'm saying, the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security do not go on this parade and tell them, say, listen, man, I don't want to, and then them come on TV and give you a pretty talk. Yeah, respect the citizens. We're all heroes together. We're all one people. And then obviously, you see the police, them do something totally different, like a them run the country. And you're not dealing with a common criminal, you're not dealing with a rapist. You're dealing with a man with paying tax, decent law abiding. So what is the credit? Are they the level of respect you extend to this Jamaica? Is it because him is a black man, I'm not driving a BMW? Because when I jump in my old BMW, morning, sir, how you do? No, we are talking about Jamaican black people, decent, law-abiding, so want to see the betterment of this country. How you do? You come out in a big holster and show up your gun, and without the gun, it's like you are nothing. Power. Because the gun are create psychological effect, but yet still, you are not going into the era. You are not signing the guns. You're not preventing nothing but we just texted bandits and law-abiders, and when we dip on the road pass, taximan and busman can overtake 20 million what a car and no police to do. But when you come across these entities, you tell them, boy, look like you have a problem with the police, and we don't want this. I'm saying listen to this, but where from here? Simple as that.
All right, sir.
You have black the road, Minett. You park your bike them on the road. Number one, we have the road in Jamaica. You park the bike them like off one side of the road.
Did you take their number? Did you take the badge number and the names? Did you do anything that could allow you to use?
I want blue them in pants and whatever, but the one that the Hilux, the car power one, let me just a puppet. Can you drive by?
Sometimes, you know, sometimes
they're supposed to clearly display their badge number.
And sometimes take a picture. Yeah, sometimes, and I'm just saying this because I know a lot of us want to do something and we need to know the right thing. Sometimes take a video clip of what's going on, face of the person, report it, and keep talking about it until you shame them into addressing the issue, because you have authority also, and I'm glad you spent yours wisely. I have another call on the line that I have to go to, so thank you so much. All right, I know Raspal is listening and hear you. All right, sir, thank you very much. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning to you both.
Hi, Jigsaw. How are you?
The team and the staff. If I can make an observation, Pastor Bercy.
Yes, sir.
Your rejuvenation is reflected in what we hear over the airways. Hello?
Repeat that again.
Your rejuvenation, your R&R, is reflected in the voice we hear over your back.
That I'm back. I hear you.
You're back.
Okay, sir. I hear you. Thank you very much.
Steadier and firmer voice.
Okay, sir.
So remember, you need to do it more often.
All right, sir. Thank you.
When you have that sort of exposure, that R&R therapy is a plus.
Yes, sir.
And to Miss Minett.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you enjoy yours that you plan to have all going on shortly. And we look forward to you coming back in more power.
Thank you so much. And you're so right about the more power part.
More power.
Oh, me again then.
I'm going to recharge.
Now, I need to commend you and the advice you give regarding ownership of stock.
Yes.
Right? And more Jamaicans need to do that. What they can afford, and that they don't need in 2 years, or if they go deeper, what they don't need in 5 years, or what they don't need in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if they choose a good one, a good company, they can always add to it when they have extra funds. So when they get them bonus and some other matters, split it up in 3 and put something to, invest. There's no point in working hard, saving diligently, and you don't invest. Right?
Yes.
And that's one of the ways of, building some assets.
True, and it's also, it gives you presence at the table when some things are happening.
Yeah. That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
You can't just talk without what you say is authority.
Yes.
So one shareholder, you can communicate what you're focusing on, or
you can ask questions
a group of you, and reinforce it or push it back when you attend the AGM.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a strategy. It's a strategy I settled on a long time ago.
Oh, we empower ourselves.
And yeah.
Yeah, man. So go well.
Thank you, sir.
Catch up with you when you come back.
All right. I look forward.
All right, then.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Neville.
Neville, how you doing?
I'm good, and I'm over breakfast listening to the show.
I'm glad you are able to have breakfast. You were working so hard in the past couple of weeks
and
I never once heard you mention breakfast.
Hear this. I was 10 pants this morning.
Okay.
Ooh, so you're doing laundry too.
Wash them out as part of my preparation.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
part of your exercise.
Every Jamaican now should be planning their household for a hurricane.
True.
Yeah, morning to your listeners and your precious caller. A hurricane, there's 6 to 10 major hurricane that is coming in the basin.
Yes.
And they expect even 2 of them to hit. So a lot of mergers to be done now between good families and good friends.
Mm-hmm.
We will merge assets and skill sets together, and money and food and buying bulk.
Yes, the new economy that we have to create and manage.
Can your budget up together and put the money together in the workplace or in the household or in the good family and good friendship. And you're going to the wholesale and buy the goods at wholesale rate and share it up.
Yes.
And weigh out your things yourself, because a lot of short weight on the market. They're calling it shrinkflation. A lot of people shorting up the goods now and charging more for it.
What are they calling it? Stringflation?
Stringflation.
Shrinkflation. And the Bureau of
shrink.
Standard.
Shrink. Okay.
Shrinkflation. And the Bureau of Standard.
Yes.
It's as if they are not working for us anymore. You don't even hear them in the market.
There's been some recent conversations in the public space concerning the impact of inflation or stagflation on the global economy, really, and the impact, of course, in the Jamaican sphere on local local economy and just consumer experience. I'm sure you've been following it because now they're sort of downgrading the outlook.
Miss Minett, I want to tell you this about Jamaica economy. The economy crash, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Listen me carefully, Miss Minett. Miss Minett?
Yes.
Pastor, listeners, listen me carefully.
We're listening.
It's when you have your governor of the Bank of Jamaica raise the basis rate by 0.5%, and at the same time your Minister of Finance raising up the gas price on you every week, and the transport sector is not profitable anymore. You know what the bus is doing in Portmore now? They raise the fare.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go on the bus, the driver and the doctor are bad you up because the woman them not talk, and when all a man like me talk, them are bad me up. I want to put me off of them bus because they want to take away extra money from you to pay the toll increase that is coming Saturday. And you know, if you say nothing about it,
okay.
and the government don't raise no fee, but them raise to protect their interest. And listen to this, none of them getting a pay slip any week at the end of the week. So
are these...
to show that the NIS or the NHT is paid over the pension, and they're getting desperate now.
So is
and the
this...
governor of the Bank of Jamaica like the candle at one end, and the Minister of Finance like the candle at the other end, and I burn up the people in the economy.
So these are independent bus operators.
Correct.
Yes, yes, Miss Minett.
Okay, so
and if you want them in any argument, them have them extortionists in a half a tree to come shoot me. And that the boy tell me upon the bus this morning, you know. Tell me I'm upon the radio talk about extortionist money and people are finding out to extortionists in a half a tree. And that the boy tell me a while upon the bus.
Okay.
Desperate black boy who not paying. Of the NIS money when supposed to pay over to the NIS. I get extortion in arbitrary, and the old people them can't get a benefit out of the NIS, and the NIS are crashing 10. You hear, Miss Minett?
Yeah, but you are not saying that because the guys who does the statistics have said to us that boy, what we're pulling out and we're not putting back in, it's not making any sense. In a short time, the NIS will not have any money. So we know
because the government they mismanage it.
Yeah, but Neville also. But what you're saying, Neville, is also touching on the seminal issue this morning, our response to crime and violence and what intervention is necessary. Because you have just made a statement that somebody said to you, you dare talking up these things and resisting our efforts to right size our budget. A man can shoot you in half a tree now. If you go, yes, so that's the point. If you get shot or beaten up in halfway tree, a man, somebody going to look at it and say, but Neville not trouble nobody, or what did Neville do? And there'll be a lot of, and someone will think it is random violence, but it really is not, because you are challenging an idea and a way of doing things which is interfering with somebody else's economy. I am really speaking to the Prime Minister at this point, because as he sat beside the grieving mother and made his comments to her, here you are making that link between
policy,
out of control cost of living and people trying to help themselves and violence.
Yeah, but listen to this.
Yes.
Which Jamaican you think made the most mistake since the year start? Are the Prime Minister?
Yeah, so I mean,
that's
so
a
you
given.
mean, so we're not still try talk to him, because if we keep silent, what next?
Not going to recognize
because
it.
Look here, let me tell you something. I hear Rusty asked a question this morning. Why they're not putting out the budget that they spend the money?
Yeah. Well, at this stage, it's not budget, it's the expense. No, I'm saying, Neville, that at this stage is not the budget. It is what it costs them.
Expenditures.
Yeah, everything they do, they call it policy. And when they tell you policy, their way of doing things, you take it or you leave it, because they are the rulers of the earth. That's how they operate.
Neville, I gotta say something to you, and thank you, Conrad Online, for reminding me. You see this person who spoke to you that way about threatening you? You must make a report to the police.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
they
telling you, get the... You see him now, me just consider him dead, you know. maybe don't take vaccine, but
no, but I'm saying to you now, not necessarily for you because he might not be a genuine threat to you, but someone who expressed themselves in that way, make a report. Take the bus number.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm going to Arbitrary police station and file the report, you know.
And don't take the bus to do it.
All over Independence City, them are telling me about, careful how you run up your mouth when the Prime Minister in a black boy. That's what they might deal with me. Because
please
listen, no, Miss Minett.
Make a report.
Pastor,
yes.
Pastor, when the Minister of Finance raise up the gas tax, and the governor of the Bank of Jamaica who will get 40 million a year for him pay, raise up the interest rate. He never put a gun on your head to shoot you, you know?
No, it doesn't have to.
Him just kill you by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Because all them do now is just take the poor people money to enrich themselves because they don't have nowhere in the world to run. Because the China man will take over the world by 2040 now. So it's a Ponzi scheme of one. So the extortion is in a arbitrary. He must take the old lady pension and him not care because I'm having big gun on a Macaulay and I'm shoot Neville. Come shoot me!
But Neville, you heard what we say. Neville.
Yeah.
You heard what we're saying though. Go to the
report it, man. Come shoot me today, 12 o'clock in the 3 o'clock tower. Come shoot me.
Because what we're
the program here.
All right, my brother, thank you. Just make sure you follow through with what you have said.
It's a spirit of intimidation and fear that is so rife in this nation from the top to the bottom. That's what it is.
You called it by name. You know, Percy, some of the things that have happened to me, I've wondered how come even, violence didn't attend it. And I remember being advised early o'clock when I saw the direction in which certain things were going. I spoke to someone at Mocha.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody set it up for me because I couldn't just go in.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody set it up for an officer to speak with me privately. And the man said to me, write a letter, make a report to the police, put it in writing and copy. And he gave me the different persons to copy. Make sure you send it to the commissioner of police, to the head of this, the head of that, and say what is happening to you. I think I still have the letter. I spoke about the threat to my family, to me personally, the concerns that I had, and the sources from which I believe that it was emanating because things were said to me specifically. And perhaps that is why I stand today, because so many persons knew that things were happening around this individual and that it could lead to violence. So I'd never take it seriously, my brother. This is not the time.
Spirit of intimidation.
Yeah. Do we have a caller on the line now? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm very well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good. I'm on air.
Yes, you are. But you sound so far away.
Oh, because I'm driving and I have it on Bluetooth.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead. You understand.
But I'll make it quick anyway. There's a police checkpoint set up on the high 95 forward direction there.
Yes.
But I think it's a waste of time, and all it does so
slow down the traffic.
Because when you come in and there's a traffic, you just turn and you just drive around by Lakeside Road and you don't check. So if I'm coming with something illegal, let me just take the back road.
Once you see the traffic pile up, you know what's ahead and you just divert.
You just divert around the Western Road there, so and you're good. So what's the purpose of the checkpoint? It's just to back up traffic. It's not to check the cars. Those who have something they don't want to be checked by the police.
They go on the other side, yeah.
And then what would make sense, and let's plant an idea, what would make sense is for someone to be checking the diversion route. Because sometimes, what you're doing is you create a bottleneck, so it forces persons to go where you have the trap.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Definitely. Of course, yeah.
And some of the times
Go ahead.
But some of the times you ask yourself, and I know there are very intelligent people who are in these organizations. They're not thinking. They're just doing something routinely. I said, but let us employ the intelligence and the brains that got it to really go after crime. Because some of the things they do is counterproductive.
Of course, sir. Of course. And then in the evening you go home and the traffic for that section would normally run like a freeze. back up and hold it back for almost 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw it. I experienced it.
If you come from the Mandela side, once you go towards and see, just take the right turn at the stoplight.
Yeah.
And go in late, whichever way, where they come from Portmore or Mandela side, you can bypass the checkpoint very easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, well, I'm not even gonna give them credit for more intelligence than is being displayed, but it is a good strategy to create a bottleneck someplace, and those who have not good intent will search for the escape route, and that is where you lay your trap. So let us pray that a great deal more intelligence will attend some of those efforts, and they can actually see the fruit of it, because we have the capacity to think better and to deploy better strategies than we're seeing. When you frustrate citizens with the delays, with the checkpoints and so on, and it not bearing fruit, you really are just causing more resentment than we need right now. Thank you, sir. Was that your only point, or your only 2 points?
No.
Go ahead.
One other point.
Yes.
One other point. I don't know if they really want to solve crime, but I'm original from a ghetto era where crime was.
Yes.
I'm sure that crime was there when I was there, and crime is still there. And I have some information that I don't think they'll pay attention to it, that can help, because I know that some of the persons who are involved in crime, I know the reason why they're involved in it.
Yes.
No, I'm going to give you a story about somebody who I know personally that wanted to start a call center business, or started to transfer his call center business from another country to Jamaica.
Yes.
Yes.
He said he was paying $12 an hour to his staff in that particular country, and he's willing to pay the Jamaican staff $7 an hour. And a certain person who was in the meeting said, "Oh, you can't pay more than $3 because
oh Jesus,
rich and you can pay." No, the point I want to make is that a lot of the guys who go into robbery, they're going it because they can't work on $2,000 a day.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they can't work. So what I'm saying is that I know that the government can raise the minimum wage to 50 or 100%, and companies don't do, because some of those same companies can do business from abroad with much more expense and come to Jamaica and can have a less expense and can pay the staff better. Some of the people willing to pay the staff.
But our own people talk us down. May I encourage you in this regard, sir? I have been advocating that persons who have information and believe it can make a difference need to find a safe way to do so. And certainly this program, Percival and myself are willing. If you have information that can make a difference, I've said it in my review of the Integrity Commission legislation, that journalists need to be amongst those who can be trusted to bring sensitive information to the attention of law and order so that things can be done. And as you remind me, the Whistleblower Act, the protected disclosure legislation. So if you have information, and remember, when it comes to corruption, there is no statute of limitation, because it is information on which persons can act today. It might not need to an arrest and a prosecution, but it can change things and make it more difficult for persons to succeed with some old strategies that are played out in other countries because they've made changes. But in Jamaica, it's still working because none of us have the courage to dismantle it. So if you know something and you think Percival and I can be of assistance, you know where to find us.
Yeah, but my brother, it just blows my mind. So the man willing to pay 7, I say you can't pay more than 3.
I thought they were gonna fight for the 12.
That's what I was saying, or 9. Oh my God, you blow my mind this morning. But it's true. It is true.
So we are here.
I have interacted with the gunmen from time to time, and they told me straight that as a father, we can't work for another $5,000 a day, and it makes sense because they can't work out.
Okay.
No. And there are some people who can't pay the $5,000, but the average company, let's say a construction site now, that they're making, you know, the apartments going on, they're making billions. They can pay the worker who push the wheelbarrow $5,000 a day. But their hands are tied because of the minimum wage.
Yes. Yes. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Blessings.
Welcome, Miss. Welcome.
Good.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
See, in certain circumstances, like when the person said, I can't pay 7, and a man will say, all right, pay 3. Because what them for pay 3, around the corner, they saw him collect the next 4 for himself, and share it up.
Yes, it's corruption at work.
Sometimes it happens like that. But overall, still, it's Minett.
Yes, sir.
Let me see now. I refer to myself as poor man. And sometimes it's not the amount of money you collect make you a man, It's the way you use the money.
What you do with it, that's true.
Because you cannot still collect a little bit of money and you spend the money wisely, you invest the money wisely, you save the money wisely and stop spending out your money on looks and expensive clothes and shoes to people see and hairstyle and rare. You understand me? Put the money together, invest it. When the money
when it's working,
now, you can have more allowance so you can do your little comfort them way there. But at first, invest the money first, make it thing first. You see, these people not changing on this minute until we really come together and start do something, bring them to court, change some laws, make sacrifices. We have to do that. I'm tell you, they are willing,
All right.
Ready to work. All right, bless up.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning to you both and to the engineer.
Good morning, sir.
And wider world. Yeah. Good morning. I have a question.
Yes.
No, Nestor Morgan. Mr. Nestor Morgan. On another station, he went on a frolic of his own and him almost say, I can't tell you, him almost tell you, say yes. The lady win and everything is ready.
Yes.
Now, we want to know. No, Mr. Morrison, Floyd Morrison.
Yeah.
He went on I don't remember what he went on, but him keep on saying to the host when Mr. Morrison went to represent the country, nobody never find out how much money. But no, they want to find out. Mr. Morgan is not your money, sir. It's the country money. And you and your young Turks, them, want to sit down and think they have full of money. But you have a next thing coming, Because, let me tell you something, even the man who just are going to university, them start think now. And I like one time.
I mean, if I tell you, you must talk to
one time.
My 15-year-old ask the same questions because them a see it. My 20-year-old them asking the questions and me have to come up with the answer. So if we believe that they are not asking the question, we're making a sad mistake.
Well, I know you can't dance on that station there because phone one. And that man, that way, you know what hurt to know that man. I thought that man had some integrity, But when him start come out and him start try to spin it and make it look like say, how can the opposition go and but I understand
but this is the opposition that everybody feels ought to be doing better and more in defense of their own cause, that they should have such pull to affect an international election. Not to say they would want to.
Went against them and all of these things. So we are asking, Mr. the truth, and this is the truth. We want the truth. How much money we not spend? Because every time the money come up.
Can you pause on that thought for me, because we need to take a 9:30 break. It's 9:31, and I don't want to shortchange you on it. So,
all right, go ahead.
Thank you.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Bess FM-100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Bess100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-3666 276-8935. That's 276-8935. Calling all donors. STEM Uprising invites you to their blood drive and back to school treat at the Percy Junior Hospital, Manchester on July 15th, 2022. The event starts at 9 a.m. Come on out. Refreshment and entertainment provided. Lots of back to school giveaways. And guess what? You can win big. There's a prize for bringing the highest number of donors. Yes! Bring a friend. Give blood, save a life.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minett and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Bess100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. My friend, continue, please.
Yes. To Jamaica. We are Jamaica, Mr. Nestor Morgan. Jamaicans are asking you how much money you spend. It's taxpayers' money, it's not your money. It's not your money. So we are asking, and we need an answer. And you must have to answer with it. And a hawks we ask if you have to answer with. You have to give us the answer. And stop going the past about Mr. Green. Mr. Green went to represent the country. When he went on a frolic off on his own until he turned over in our face. You understand? And the lady did tell you no. So watch me. She should not know why you're not coming with this later on, because she there's nothing for you to come and glorify about. So I don't know what the bother go there for. But on the other station, the host said that it was to represent the country and what good it would do for the country.
Can we stop
but
the
win or
double
lose, the entitlement to be told what it cost is legitimate and it's there. And better yet, a promise was made that the information would be shared. So don't all take too long, because it will become one of the nails in the coffin. It is going to be a nail in the coffin for the elections.
Why every time them for disclose something, them go around the corner, the rosemary bush, and them talk. Just come and make we know. Make we know if $10, $10. If I 20, it done spend already, you know.
Yeah.
It done spend already, Sister Minett.
And the revelation, that it was not 99,000 for the period, but 99,000 per month. Hey.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Minett Phelps expenditure or a traffic euro. It has the makings of that already, so. It better you stay ahead of it.
We want to know. We want to know, sir.
All right, my brother. Thank you for asking it 100 times.
And Miss Minett, our next thing.
Yes.
Is it true? I don't know. Is it true that if you take the whatever, you cannot donate blood? You know.
It is emerging. I've heard it said, and we're just gonna check it out and respond to you that if you have taken it, they're saying you can't give blood. That's what some people have been saying. I can't double check it.
I have a voice note, and the lady said she's a witness. She said she was there. It happened to them. So we want to know.
Okay.
These information must be given to the
and it will come out quickly enough, because I know we are advertising. There's a blood drive to take place in
but that's exactly why I asked.
Yes.
That's
and
exactly why I asked.
Need to be aware.
It don't make no sense. You turn up and you waste your time.
But remember though that they do screen the blood after they take it. And I'm sure there would be some signs attached to the conclusion that persons who have taken the vaccine, it's the vaccine we're speaking of, let's be clear, not contraceptives. Persons who have taken the vaccine, the blood might have shown to be ineligible for inclusion. Remember, that hypertensives also are advised not to give blood. In fact, if you're hypertensive, they tell you
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So there are all kinds of reasons why a person might be disqualified from donating blood. Yes, I agree with you. That's something that needs to be verified and
Yes,
fast.
yes,
You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should not take the vaccine. Let me be clear on that.
No,
But
no.
it is, yeah, but
you know,
it's
I
good to
didn't
know.
say.
Yes, I
asked
know. You left it
in
to
that
me.
diplomatic guy way. Yes.
Yes.
So, and to my brother Neville.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We are advocate for truth, but some things not worth to hear, my brother. Some things you just leave it alone. People will do things for people ignorant. Never. Me not tell you, stand up for your right, never. But something, just leave it alone.
Yeah, well,
Good morning.
his own has gone past the leave it alone point because he has spoken, he is known to be an advocate of certain things, and he has been threatened. When you are threatened, report it.
No, that is true. That
Okay,
is true.
good.
But I'm
So,
saying,
yeah.
you know,
I know you're telling him to be judicious in the fights
just
that
be
he
careful.
choose. Yeah.
Me know places and me know me see things happen. And all the man did I say something to the man about the other part, the other person, and man mash him up.
Yeah.
So, you know, ignorance will go. And you see what never? It's just the man I go inside, I go drink champagne, and them all get cell phone for call them bridging and wear clocks and all that. So never, remember me I tell you.
Yeah. All right, sir.
We speak when we talk.
Yes, yeah.
All right, have a blessed one.
You too. Thank you so much. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, my lady.
Good morning, my brother.
Morning, Pastor.
Hey, my friend, how you doing?
Oh, I saw you had a good Sunday, man.
Yes, man, it was great. Let me tell you why the greatness about it. A baby that I dedicated 10 years ago was baptized yesterday.
So that means you're old.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm just teasing you. Go on, my brother. What is on your mind this morning?
Remember this youngster that was killed in 1955 in America by the name of Emmett Till?
I heard that name, Emmett Till, yeah.
Yeah.
Los Angeles? No?
Yeah.
LA?
Well, hello?
Was that in LA?
No, man.
Pastor, bring it up. Go on.
Yeah, I can't remember the place now. Is that LA?
Mississippi. Tortured and lynched in Mississippi.
One place down south, man.
Mississippi.
One place down south. Yeah. Now, some people were searching. I think he has some foundation or something. And they were searching in the courthouse the other day, and they came up on this summons. That was issued to the lady that accused him and caused his death. They issued a summons for her to be arrested and charged for kidnapping. And she was the one who pointed him out to her brother, her husband,
and his brother,
her brother-in-law, something like that.
Right.
And they took him away and murdered him. No, they found this summons, you know.
Yes.
And the reason why the sheriff said never issued the summons for her is because to get her arrested is because she had 2 young children and he never want to disturb her family. You can imagine that. So there's a thing. I think the place is in Mississippi, one of them places here. So there is no the camera now for the DA and the sheriff to issue that sermon to the lady. You know, she's still alive, you know.
Yes, and she don't have 2 young babies anymore.
Right, and she's 80 years of age now, and they still want. They say, well, this justice must be served now. So people are clever.
How do you feel about it?
She should be they should find her and arrest her, man.
Okay, because they are certainly they've hunted down Mr. Cosby.
Yeah. And remember
for lesser offenses when you consider that was kidnapping, murder, and torture.
Yeah, man. They should find her and arrest her, man, and try her and put her where she belong, man. Because she's the one that caused the death of that young fella.
Yes. What about the husband and the brother?
By far, they're accusing the boy of doing what he never did.
What about the husband and the brother who tortured him? They're dead?
No, they are both. They are deceased now.
Yeah, but they were convicted.
No, man, the white jury find him not guilty, man. After a couple, they had a trial and in front of a white jury. You know, that time in Mississippi and all the place. You know,
so outside of
that
Chicago.
people don't get no justice, man.
Yeah. So this thing about being tried before a jury of your peers is such an important thing. Even as our Chief Justice talk about doing away with jury trials. Someone, you wake up something powerful right there this morning.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think this fellow is getting behind himself. You know, this fellow Nestor Martin. I heard him on the TV and on news lamenting the fact that according to him, human rights activist was not the film at the set up and all them kind of nonsense them talking, you know. For a government minister, they need to step back more. Only can control them little fellows there. I want to say little, I mean, I using capital letters, you know, man.
Yes.
Only can control them little fellows there and make them. How we sink to this level in this country that we find ourselves with them little fellows that we have in important position. What the country sink to this level? What happened to people? What have people of integrity and other people? Nobody now stepping forward. We have them little fellows here taking control in the country.
You asked it last week and you raised it again today. People do need to step forward, and those who step forward, we have an obligation to tutor and train them in the right way. Because they are persons, they may be persons of ability generally, but they without the right instruction and guidance, they misbehave.
Yes, man, this little fella here, man, is coming and start. What he's doing, you know, is putting people against people, you know.
But isn't that the plan always? And that's why those of us who are people of good intention need to stand up and say, come on, enough is enough. And even the members of his party need to rebuke him. That's what they need to do. Because some of the elders need to say, come on, and pull him and say, no, you need to stop it. Or even the Prime Minister. Because what they're doing, I believe they are beginning to dig their own grave. Because you know what has happened? People have reached a point in their life and them say, no, man.
But some of it is bearing fruit too, you know, because I was in a group at my little place when we do my little partner on Saturday. You know, my little partner we show on Saturday. You know.
That's big banking, man. You're just a
big bank. That's the people's bank.
Understand that's going somewhere. But go ahead.
Yeah, and there were quite a few people there, and everybody was almost saying why the guy shouldn't have no lawyer. Them should just. I have to be saying, but why sometimes you know those code you can't explain.
I know you get threatened like never got threatened on the bus.
No, it's not really threatening. Sometimes I'm afraid, you know, but it's not going to make any sense because nobody's not going to listen. It's like you're wasting time talking.
Yeah, it's not a teaching moment.
Right, they all have opinion already.
Yes.
And most of them were saying that the guy should never, and they're cursing the liar, you know. The curse of the liar.
The lady who was taking up the case.
Yes, and forgetting that she was appointed by the
legal aid. The legal aid.
Yeah. It's not she volunteered to take up the case.
But it doesn't even matter because someone should volunteer if needs be. This is an important trial. We don't know where things are going. We see something, but we should never, any of us, be content to just rush to judgment and execution. We should never be content with that because there are many things that can come out of it that would be helpful, not just to the young man himself, but to the society as a whole. How did we get here? There is the mother asking. She says she wants an answer. How is she going to get an answer if we just throw a bag on him and
is his mother wanting answers?
The girl's mother, the victim's mother is saying she wants an answer. We, society, need an answer too, because how do we guard against
people
it,
like that?
prevent
That's a product of us,
work and help somebody like that? So there's somebody right now, you know, who is a step away from doing what he did. How do we catch that?
You see, and if we continue in this vein that we just believe that we must just when we find a man, you know, because that's one of the faults of the police force, you know. when they catch a criminal, you know, nobody interrogate him and find out why he did.
No, they want to be in executioner right on the spot. Look at what our brother was describing. Policeman draw down on an adult man and begin to treat him in a certain way because they perceive he had committed some kind of traffic infraction. So just the attitude that they display tells you that they've come to a judgment.
But that is the same thing what caused the man to lose his life in Mandeville a couple of months ago.
Yes, because people come to a judgment.
So if we continue on in this light, it's like we're not looking and seeing the danger that it may pose even for yourself.
Even for yourself. Yes. All right, my brother.
People might accuse you. Accuse you when you don't.
When you are innocent. Yes, and you see, if we don't stand up for it now, when it is our turn, there'll be none to stand for us. I thank you so much, especially for reminding us about young Emmett Till.
Yeah, okay. Have a good day.
You too, my brother. Thanks very much. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yes, Mama and sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, friend?
Yes, yeah, big up. First thing first, the pillion rider.
Yes.
I noticed that they struck sometime early yesterday morning. Some people were coming from the stadium, and a bike man and his pillion interrogated them and took the bag, and someone was trying to wrestle the bag from him and shot the brother.
And they shot. Yes.
And all the security. So the pillion rider them play an important role in the crime and violence with the bike. So the police don't have enough data to suggest to the parliamentarian to at least temporary make him ban pillion for riding bike.
Well, so here's the thing now. You've raised an important point. How far can we go in just wholesale interfering with people's constitutional rights and freedoms in order to deter some kind of threat?
Yes, miss.
That is something that would have to be, that's something that they would have to demonstrate. You asked it right, you know. You said, does the police have enough information now to ask Parliament to put something in place dealing with pillions on bikes? I don't know if they have, but if they have, they should certainly be advocating it so that even if it doesn't come to pass, just the conversation about it will turn that tide. Because if you know that police going to stop you, 2 men on a bike, you're bound to get stopped. They're going to have to find a different way.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Children can't get very easy with the traffic in the traffic.
Yeah, yes.
They can't go down through all shackles. To the bike man, they can't go down through and go, and go about them business. So
and that is the role of policing, to come up with these strategies that cut off some of those easy avenues for violence.
Yes, we're not short of legal mind in the police force, right?
That's
As
true.
a result of the graduate entry program
That is
instituted by KD. We're not short of legal mind inside there. So, second thing now, Mama and Sir, the Labour Party, I think they end up the beginning of the end have started for the Labour Party administration, you know.
Are you prophesying?
The beginning of the end start, and it also was a beginning end too, you know. So we must know that. So the beginning of the end has started.
Yes. Well, but you know, we don't believe that because it is happening. You throw up your arms and just let it flow over you. There are things for us to do.
It has started. We can't tell you that. And I know that the PMP is in the process of preparing for the local government election. But I think by extension, they should also prepare for the general election. Even themselves, they don't like to test the water with no local government election. You know, we know that, right?
Right.
Yes. So I know you are running out of time. So we'll talk next time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, all of you.
Yes.
And thank you to those who have been staying with us online and on air. You know, we've been getting lots of good commentary here. Taki says that regarding the pillion riders, they just had a case, I guess in the US. We can check them out. I will certainly do that. Well, Pastor Percival, you'll be on your own, and I know that your listeners will take good care of you. Thank you, engineer, production team, visitor to the studio, trainee engineer. Have a great day, everyone. This is the Morning Connection signing off.
when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin, and when your hair dances on my chin, wish we were alone, baby, just the two of us. Yes, every move you make gives me a rush. Whoa, oh. Wine some more, you show me that love unconditionally. Make believe we're alone, just you and me. Take the problems, leave them behind. Don't let it show. Go, baby, go, baby, go, baby, go, baby, go. I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, that only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, what a vibe, what a vibe, what a vibe. What a night, what a night, what a night, yes, what a night. Yeah, I'd love to wipe the sweat off of your face, but it looks so good I might have to replace. This moment is magic, so I leave it alone until you say, honey, time to go home. Oh, oh, oh. Wine some more and show me that love unconditionally. Make believe we're alone, just you and me. Take the problems, leave them behind. Don't let it show. Go, baby, go, baby, go, baby, go, baby, go. I feel good when I'm wrapped up in your arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud, that only I can talk about. Feel good, yes. Oh, what a night, yes. What a sweet, sweet night, full of vibes. Oh, what a night, what a night, yes. What a night, yeah.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?